We're back in session after the recessing into closed session. City Attorney, is there any reportable action?
No reportable action.
All right, with that, we will adjourn the special meeting and reconvene at 6 o'clock for the Selma City Council regular meeting. All right, with that, we'll start the Selma City Council regular meeting. It's March 6, 2023. It's 6 p.m. We're in the Selma City Council chambers at 1710 Tucker Street in Selma, California. The teleconference phone number is 1301-715-8592. The webinar ID is 891-6864-5005. When on the phone, if you wish to address the council during the public comment portion of the agenda, press *9 to raise hand, and we'll select you from the meeting queue. Press *6 to unmute and mute yourself. Tonight's invocation will be led by Pastor Jose Alvarez of the Iglesia Antioquia. Welcome, Pastor.
Bless each one of you.
God bless you.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, in the name of Jesus Christ, we just thank you and we love you for this opportunity that we have, Heavenly Father, to put everything in your hands that we get to do. We just ask you right now, Heavenly Father, that you guide us through your Holy Spirit, Almighty God, that everything that goes forward, that you give us wisdom, that you give us patience, and that you give us, Heavenly Father, that love for the people that we serve. In the name of Jesus Christ, we put everything in your hands and we thank you and we love you with all our hearts. And everybody say,
Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Guerra,
Here.
Councilmember Mendoza Navarro.
Here.
Councilmember Trujillo,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Cho,
Here.
Mayor Robertson.
Here, potential conflicts of interest. Any council member who has a potential conflict of interest may now identify the item and recuse themselves from discussing and voting on the matter. I have a potential conflict of interest on number 2 of the consent calendar tonight. I would like to invoke my right to address the council on this subject as a member of the public. After I address the body as an interested member of the public, I will recuse myself and leave the room. Okay, that will move on to agenda changes or deletions to better accommodate members of the public or inconvenience in the order of presentation. Items on the agenda may not be presented or acted upon in the order listed. Additions to the agenda may be added only pursuant to California Government Code Section 54954.2b. Oral communications. At this time, any member of the public may address the city council regarding any item over which the council has jurisdiction. No action or discussion will be taken on any item not on the agenda. Issues raised will be referred to the city manager for review. Members of the public shall limit their remarks to 3 minutes. In order to limit the city's liability, comments are asked to be directed towards the city council and not city employees. Would anyone like to say anything at this time?
Jim Evel, 1701 Dinuba. There's an important issue here. I'm going to be on the previous councils and knowing situations. Item on the consent counter, item 2, I suggest the council pull this because potential liability that will take place on these issues with the city. And if I had my way right now, the attorney that gave that advice should be dismissed because it did not protect the council or the city of Selma. And that's very important under the law. And when council is supposed to obtain the law in our city to help our members correctly maintain the law, protect city council members and also the city of Selma liabilities. And unfortunately, the attorney did not do this for the city of Selma. On record, I'm making it an idea to pull the agenda too for important reasons.
Thank you. Any other oral communications?
Mike Nelson, 2755 Automobile Drive. Last week, I was out for dinner at Cattleman's. Absolutely shocked me. And as I looked farther into it, I became upset that my management team, whoever that is, had not made me as well as other business owners, Laurel Avenue intersection, apprised of what's going on with Caltrans. I'd like to have these passed out if I could. During COVID in 2021, 22, city had a lady, I can't remember her name, may have been true, come to my restaurant, talk to me about how to operate the restaurant, how to operate the hotel, whether I could stay open, be closed, any number of things. It went on and on. My lifeblood, Auto Mall, my hotel, my restaurant, the Farney's Auto Group, Walmart, Joe's Restaurant. We all depend on Highway 99 to bring people to Selma. No, as council members, do any of you know that in about 7 days, they're going to close the northbound off-ramp on Highway 99 to Floral. They're going to close the onboard, whatever they call it, the on-ramp for 99, Floral going north. That whole side, the whole east side of the freeway is going to be closed to any traffic getting into Selma. Will not be able to come to my hotel where we get most of our travelers coming south will stop at our hotel. People from Tulare County, Kings County will not be able to get to my auto dealership, nor to the Farneys, nor to Walmart. Once that work is done, they're then going to close the southbound lanes. And you saw what happened. If you saw what happened in Fowler, how long those on and off ramps were closed, it's months. What troubles me is that the city manager and no one from the city administration made any effort to have a meeting with us business owners to explain what was going on and what was being done by the city to help try to mitigate the impact of these closures. No signage is proposed, nothing. Your city engineer, Mr. Horn, I talked to today, said, well, you know, they put it in a newsletter out on the Selma news column or selma.com. I don't read that, unfortunately. Selma Enterprise doesn't ever report anything in Selma anymore. Are you folks aware of what they're doing? Asking. Did the council know what they're proposing to do? Anybody? That mean with no answer, no one knew it. I've tried to contact the city.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson. Do we have any other oral communications at this time?
My name is Joe Gonzalez. I come from 2305 in Nebraska, in the barrio, forgotten side of town. Recently, a few months ago, I stood in my front yard and like a kid in a candy store, looking at the sidewalks being placed in the barrio. Well, needless to say, they got as far as crawling distance from my yard and they took off. They never come back and gave me a sidewalk. Everybody else got one. Why did I get left out? I've had no answers, no replies. Nobody's contacted me why I was left out. Now, that's needless to say, but another thing, I will, as a concerned citizen, from what I hear out in the streets, the city council, a lot of you need to be aware of what you're doing and your backyard meetings before you get into these regular meetings and try and do something to help the city.
Thank you. Anybody else have any comments at this time?
Ten 57 Mill Street, Rose Robertson. February 7th, the city council here attended a meeting, had a city council meeting, and on the agenda, they had number 11, the consideration approval of the amendments to the city manager employment agreement. Was that allocated out to was that distributed out to the citizens of Selma before you three voted on it? Pro Tem Cho, Trujillo, and Councilmember Navarro,
Correction, it's Trujillo.
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 Was that distributed out to the citizens of Selma in the chambers before there was reportable action or, excuse me, action on that item? February 7th. I've been on website trying to look for a copy of that, and I'm not able to locate it. Can somebody get me a copy of that?
Council can't respond to public comments, but you can make a public records request
Or his contract?
and we'll review the public records request, but that's how you would obtain a public document.
Thank you.
Anybody else with any public comment at this time? Do we have anybody on Zoom or online or on the phone? Like to make a comment?
As a reminder to those that I see on Zoom, please use your raise your hand feature and we will select you from the meeting queue. Mayor Robertson, at this time, I see no hands raised.
Okay. With that, we will move on to our special presentation, which is the Selma Unified School District Selma Adult School presentation.
Thank you, Council. Tonight, we have representatives of the Selma Unified School District, including Dr. Marilyn Shepard, to speak about the Selma Adult School.
Excuse me. Good evening. It's great to be here this evening. I appreciate the opportunity to share some good things that are happening in Selma Unified. And first, like to introduce Joel Fedor, one of our board members who's here as well. We have done some, as you know, we're evolving, and last year we consolidated Washington Elementary with Eric White, and that afforded us the opportunity to look at how we can expand our services to our adult school, our adult population here in Selma. So tonight, the principal, Rosa Bali, and our coordinator for parent engagement and community engagement, Alicia Gonzalez, will be presenting. But first of all, I also want to share, I have some flyers here and I gave it out to Santiago, the city manager, to share with you. Wednesday, I will be hosting with my team members opportunity at Max's Brunch House and Kincaid to talk about any issues, concerns, positives, things that we could work on at Selma Unified. With myself and my team on Wednesday morning at 9 to 10 and also on Wednesday evening from 6:30. Anyone's invited. We'll be there to answer questions, take input. Hope you stop by and give us some feedback. We'll have some information about some of the things that we're doing as well, but wanted to take the opportunity to engage with the community. So with that being said, I'd like to introduce Adult School.
Thank you, Dr. Shepard. I want to share with the council, thank you for this opportunity to present a little bit about our adult school. I have to say that I'm back home because I was the principal at the Washington Elementary School. That was my first position as a principal. And so now I'm back home as the adult principal. With that, we will go ahead and start the presentation. So this is a picture of the Washington campus. As you know now, we are the adult school. And this has really been a great move for our district because it now is a central location for the adult learners that we serve. So it has been very accessible and we have people walking to the program, to our school. So it's been a great location. And we have seen a significant increase in our numbers of students that we service. We had been servicing around approximately 300 or so students per year. That includes both our ESL classes and our adult independent study program classes, those that are going to work for a high school diploma. We have now serviced approximately 513 altogether. So and that's just up until this point, and we're still enrolling. We continue to enroll until the end of April. And so our staff includes myself. We also have a facilitator for adult education. Her name is Desiree McDougall. We have 6 AISP instructors, and that is our adult independent study program instructors. Those are instructors that work one-on-one with those individuals that are working towards earning a high school diploma. And then we have 6 ESL instructors. We have an office assistant, administrative assistant, custodian. So the full work of individuals that all help run this school. And our adult independent program, we have instructors that are there to offer classes in the morning, also in the evening. We are currently at approximately right now at about 50 with looking at about we have 100 students enrolled, but we are looking at about another 100 to graduate at the end of the school year. And then our ESL classes, we offer both morning and evening courses, again, to accommodate those individuals that are wanting to learn a second language and work during the day. So we offer evening classes as well. And then we also have a civics conversation course. And this course is designed to familiarize our students with engagement in the city, and then at the same time, learning a second language in English. Next. And in addition to our AISP and our ESL classes, we also have an Intro to Computers course. We also have just this having the opportunity now to run the adult program on one campus. We've been able to open that up to Reedley College. So we're offering classes. We offer 2 in the fall, and then we're offering 3 this spring. And that's through Reedley College. They are non-credit courses, but nonetheless, it's a location for those individuals that are looking to improve their office skills, computer skills. So that's through our Reedley College courses. We also have an adult transition program, which is called ATP. And we have an instructor for that, Ruby Alvarado. And that's really to help our 18 to 22-year-old students go from a public school to the adult life, learning how to do simple things as cooking and getting a job, having a bank account. And so that's our ATP program. And we also have Valley ROP courses. And we have 2 classes dedicated to Valley ROP, and they run courses throughout the year. And I'll talk a little bit more about the VROP program in the next couple of slides. In addition to the classes, we also have what we call a transition specialist. Her name is Mary Lopez. She comes to us from the State Center for Adult Education Consortium, which Selma is part of. And what she does is she, prior to us enrolling students in the AISP program, we require the students to go through an orientation. And through that orientation, the students are able to learn about the resources and what's available for them, access into financial aid. So all of that information is provided to them through the transition specialist, who is Mary Lopez. And what she will be doing also and helping our school site, we're offering a resume workshop on March 16th. So that's coming up next Thursday. We will also have a resource fair, and we are just bringing in different agencies throughout our community and in Fresno County to offer jobs to those that are looking for a job. So forward to that. And also a Reg to Go on April 27th. So those students that are earning their high school diploma that are ready to step into going on to college, we're going to have colleges there ready for them and to support them to get those applications completed. And then we'll also offer a college tour, going to Relay College on May 9th. Quite a bit there for our AISD students. And our VROP classes that I mentioned earlier, this stands for the Career Technical Education courses. And these courses are selected by the labor market indicator for what we call the central mother lode, which is the region from Stockton to Bakersfield, and the needs of the labor needs of the state. And these are short-term courses, as you see, 5 to 13 weeks. And they're designed to provide those career opportunities for those adults that are interested. And they also receive a career industry certification once they complete the course. And so I have a few, so these are the list of courses that are offered: CNA, EMT, fire and emergency dispatch, heavy equipment operator. We just finished that course. Paraprofessional, security guard certification and on training, and wildland firefighting. And so next we have a few pictures there. So there's our EMT, wildland firefighting, our heavy equipment operator. We actually have a simulator in the classroom that I got to try out. It's pretty cool. You get to sit there and pretend you're lifting and moving heavy equipment. And then next we have the instructional aid, which is really big for us as a district because we are really in need of hiring those individuals to help work with students in the classroom. And then there's our security guard and baton training. CNA and our EMT. Are you guys okay to watch a short clip from VROP? About 2-3 minutes. Channel 30. Yes, and I also need to mention that those students that complete that all were able to get hired and be able to work. So that's huge for people in our community that, you know, for whatever reason didn't get a chance, one, to look into these positions or earn their high school diploma. We serve as that the school to support these individuals in whatever path they want to go and change their trajectory of employment for them. So it's very gratifying to work with adults. And as Dr. Shepherd mentioned, we are doing renovations on our campus. As you know, it's an old campus. The classrooms need a little renovations. And so here are a few pictures of what the classes look like as we're getting ready to strip them down and do changes. And so that's classes used by VRP. And these are the new changes that we made to those classrooms. So taking out the cabinets has really expanded the classroom to be able to accommodate the adults that we have. And so up next, I'm going to have my colleague, Alicia Gonzalez. She is the program manager for parent engagement and the migrant program. So she's here to talk a little bit about our bear pantry that we just started in the month of February.
Good evening. I wanted to share with you some exciting news. We have started a bear pantry in Selma Unified. So in December, what we did is we were having a meeting regarding our foster and homeless youth, and we were thinking, what can we do to support them? You know, we know they need clothing, they need all of those things that help keep them going day to day. But more importantly, we wanted to fill that void, that Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which was the food. And we thought, well, what can we do? Because we do have families that contact us on Friday afternoons asking for food or where could they get food. And we do know that there are some organizations in Selma that provide food for our families. So we talked about, you know, what we could do. We talked about location, and we're having our meeting at Washington. So we thought, well, you know what? They're renovating this place. They have a lot of areas for food. So we decided that we would move forward with the bear pantry and we would have it there at Washington. So part of our team includes Dr. Wildman, who is our Ed Services Director, myself, Desiree McDougall, Ruby Alvarado, who's the ATP teacher, Eduardo Alvarez, the AVID teacher, Chrissy Rangel, Key Club students, AVID students, and we also have students from the graphic design class who are designing our bear pantry bag. So we also have a bag with the big bear head on it, and they're helping us with that process. So it is a collaborative effort between a Central Valley Food Bank and ourselves. And what we did is we applied for a grant and we were given the grant, and it takes us through June of 2023. So we received from $4,800 up to $5,000 a month. And this is all food that we are able to provide our families with. So every month we provide our families, you know, we thought originally we would be able to provide 200 families. So our first month in February, we gave 238 meals out. On March 3rd, this last Friday, we gave 293 meals out. So we, you know, we're continuing to grow in that area. Some of the items that they provide are chicken wings, chicken tortillas, tortilla chips, alcohol wipes. So there's a variety of items that we can choose from. The good thing is there's some items that of course are going to cost us, but they also have lots of free items. So the first time we did it, we got whatever was free, we went for it. And then we also, you know, spent our money, the $4,800. It was the funniest thing. So I was getting to Washington School and I see this big old semi turning the corner onto Bowder, and I'm all, oh my God. Next thing you know, the girls are calling me saying, Ms. Gonzalez, how is this semi gonna get through the gates? And I'm all, you know, because Bowder's kind of busy with the Estrella and they're working on that gas station. So I don't know, it was a female driver and she backed that trailer up beautifully. If you can change the next slide. We were able to, she was able to unload 19 pellets. And, you know, the thing was that it was our first time. We didn't know what we didn't know. So we had to break down 19 pallets because at Washington, what we don't have there are double doors. So she parked everything on the outside. We broke down pallets and we brought everything on the inside. Our students from the ATP program, Adult Transition Program, were able to help us inventory and organize. And we have everything shelved against, you know, we had a lot of eggs to provide for our families. We had detergent, we had chicken from Costco. You want to advance the next slide, please? And these are some of our helpers. students from the adult transition. This is a picture of our families. Again, the boys from the adult transition program, and then a lot of our helpers, a lot of our helpers, again, are avid students, Key Club students, and then the students from the graphic design class that also help put our bags together. And we are going to continue to provide the meals for our families again through the end of June. At this last round, we had our school social workers help us select families, and they were able to give us 20 families each from throughout the district. Our first set of meals went to the students at the ESL classes at the Selma Adult School. And our second set of meals went to our families, our Selma Unified School families.
And I just want to add, today, as a matter of fact, and sometimes we'll get individuals to call, they'll call Washington School and say, hey, I've heard that, you're giving out food, and how do we go about getting vouchers? And so we explain to them, well, this is starting with the schools and whatnot. I had a gentleman call on Friday, and he said, you know what, kind of explain the situation. And we keep certain amounts of non-perishable food so that we're able to give out at any point in time. And so anyways, this individual calls and says, you know what, I would really like a bag or whatever you can give out. Okay, come by Friday and pick up. So then the gentleman called me today and he said, you know what, I just want to tell you thank you. He said, my brother is in a wheelchair. He's not able to make it, but he is the one that told me to call and let you know how much we appreciate what you have provided our family. And something so simple, but yet when it impacts the community and members that in our community that need something, it's a great feeling. And with Alicia and the other team members, we look forward to continuing to do this. The last thing I'd like to add is funding for our adult ed program. So that funding, we get it through the state, which is the California Education for Adult Program, CAPE. And then we also get federal funding, which is the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act funding. And we were just awarded, just in February, a 4-year grant. So we definitely have it sealed for the next 4 years. And once that's up, we reapply for this funding to be able to run the adult school program. So I didn't want to leave that out. So, any questions?
Do we have any questions?
I just like to say,
Okay.
are you sure?
Go ahead.
Okay. I just want to commend to you, both of you. This is it just warms my heart because I just can relate how beautifully this is in your program. And I follow you guys on Facebook and see the parents, the families that you're helping. And I know just doing something small goes a long ways, because just a few weeks ago, we did the same thing. We went out and helped Mandeep Singh had 40,000 pounds of food to give away. And he allowed us to come in on a Friday to come and fill our trunks up to go take over to elderly people that don't have vehicles or any transportation means to go out and get food. And just by helping them and the tears in their eyes that bring so much joy to me, and I'm sure the mayor can relate, that it's just these little things that we do as a community to help our citizens goes such a long way. So I want to tell you, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Just little things like that, working together is what Selma's about. So thank you.
I'd like to commend you guys for all the hard work you guys are doing. Dr. Shepherd, I'd like to commend you and the school board for what they're doing. The food is one thing, but the enrichment that you're doing for the minds of the adults that are coming to your school, but you're giving them the ability to move forward and feed their families, put some education, get back into the workforce. That is so important. This program is going to be giving tremendous down the road. It was something that was needed for this community. It's part of changing the culture and bringing our community to the forefront of what you're doing. You're just kind of harvesting and adding a little more food to the plate. But in reality, the enrichment of the education that you're giving the adult parents and the opportunity you're giving the adults
to expand their mind is so tremendous, and I commend you guys for that. If we can one day hopefully get together and start working in a partnership way, it would be great. I think the city council, I think we should actually talk about that, but for the beginning, I'd like to commend you guys all for what you're doing.
And I just want to echo those sentiments as well. What stood out to me is the homeless and the foster youth, because we don't always think about those individuals, that population, and they don't go, home starving, or they don't, wherever they're staying, they're not starving. And then also feeding their mind, and especially because the teenage years, those teenagers, you have those students that aren't ready to go to the higher education because that's just not them. They just don't have that in them. So what else can you give them? And the VROP program is an excellent program because it's giving them, a slower pace, but it's with a actual goal, with the SMART goal at the end. But just again, not just feeding their mind, but also, helping them out in their time of need, because that is something that is going to have a huge impact for them in their adult life, especially because we want to get these children off the street and young adults off the street and, do better. So thank you and commend you. Thank you.
I want to also thank you guys for all the hard work. My question is actually, if other organizations like Lions, Kiwanis, and those guys want to donate, how do we do that to you guys? Okay.
We have set up a donation fund that would help support this program as needed. We also have a clothing closet there, correct? So they are also doing that for some of our students. We often have families move in. So we do have you can just make it Selma Unified School District, and we'll put it in the fund for this program, for the also the clothing closet.
So you accept clothing?
No, I'll get back to you on that. I
Okay,
don't want to rush.
interesting.
Clothing
Okay.
Because,
All right.
this is just evolving. And the cool thing is our adult transition students are helping to organize that and manage that. So it's
Okay.
another way for them to learn. Go forward. So.
Yeah, because there's a lot, I think a lot of organizations will definitely want to help. And, once the product is up, I could go sell some for you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for letting us share with you. Appreciate it.
We have any comments from the public tonight? Anybody like to say anything about this? Do we have anybody online or on Zoom?
As a reminder to the callers that we have on Zoom, please use your raise your hand feature and we will add you to the meeting queue. Excuse me.
Okay.
Jim Abel, 1701 Dinuba. I commend you guys. Thank you. Thank you for stepping up and helping our community and people that well deserved in our community and the school districts. And I think you already identified them already. I know you have, knowing your jobs. But once again, I thank you from my heart. See people get the, like Sarah Guerra said up there, when you see people's lives change their dynamics, helping them. I mean, they may not have a whole lot of money, but what they do have is they have pride. But when you help them, it kind of eases the pride away a little bit, a lot. And I thank you guys for doing it.
Mr. Avalos.
I'm sorry. I'm directing you to the staff over there. Thank you.
I'd also like to say thank you for coming out. So inspiring to see what you're doing. Just amazing work for the community. And I remember I was giving out food with one of your board members, Nick Sahota, in December. And we were talking about it at the Sikh temple. And that was 450,000 pounds of food in December. And we were talking and he said, we really need to get this out that we're doing this adult school. And, people don't know about it. Well, they're going to know about it. It's really impactful. And it's a great thing that you're doing. And we have so many organizations in our town, our special districts, our cemetery district and our healthcare district are also great districts that do good things for the city. And I just love to see everybody promoting themselves and showing what they do, because it's going to be important. And I think it's going to bring even more people to get help from your organization. Thank you very much for that. All right. With that, we will move on to our consent calendar. All items listed under the consent calendar are considered routine. The complete consent calendar will be enacted by one motion by roll call vote. For purposes of discussion, any council member may have an item removed from the consent calendar and made part of the regular agenda. The council can then approve the remainder of the consent calendar. As I mentioned earlier, I'll be pulling item 2 and addressing the council as a member, an interested member of the public. Does council have any other items they would like to have pulled tonight?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to add into your second pulling of number 2. I'd like to stress to create a format where the mayor gives his input and asks for the city manager to give their input. And third, it would be the council's comments. Fourth would be the community input, and then bring back to the council for a vote.
Council member, I don't know what the format's going to be, given that I'm going to make my
I'm-
comments and then I will be recusing myself.
I'm-
So that will be up to the Mayor Pro Tem Cho, who will run the meeting after that. So you can approach
I
that with
bring
her.
that
I'm
up
an
at the very
interested
beginning.
member of this. I am an interested party here. Therefore, I can't really take part in anything other than addressing this council body as an interested member of the public. But if you would like to address your comments to Mayor Pro Tem Cho, will be running the meeting for this agenda item. You're certainly free to do so.
Exactly. That's what I was actually entertaining. The fact of I would like to have in a format, and you didn't let me finish. The reason for that is because I'd like to keep it, most importantly, keep it professional, and let's keep it at a very professional level. That is the reason for my format. Apologies, but this is for actually talking to the council and the dais, not for any one individual.
Is there a motion to approve item 1 of the consent calendar?
Make a motion.
I'll second it.
Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Trujillo,
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza Navarro.
Yes.
Councilmember Guerra,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cho,
Yes.
Mayor Robertson.
Yes. Okay. Now you, the city attorney, are including all of my complaints about the city manager, and yet you have blacked out all the complaints by the city manager about me. I would like an unredacted version of my claim released to the public before this issue is voted on. I would like to amend my claim to include the city attorney, because the city attorney is responsible for these unfair and discriminatory blackouts in my complaint. Note, this could have been avoided by the city council working with me in closed session at the last council meeting. Because the council majority will not work to resolve this situation with me, which is what I requested and have been denied, I am faced with no other alternative but to move forward with my complaint. 3 members of the council, Mayor Pro Tem Cho, Council Members Trujillo and Navarro, could have stopped this, but have chosen to ignore the harassment and discrimination occurring on their watch and with their encouragement. All city personnel should be afforded the same rights and protections, and that includes me, the mayor. I am doing this so that future city employees don't have to face the same situation.
Become.
City Attorney, this question is for you. Do you now need to recuse yourself since the mayor named you in his complaint? And should we now table this and get legal or third-party legal representation?
No, so a complaint against me is not on the agenda currently. That is not a matter that has been agendized. This is specifically a complaint only against the city manager, so I do not need to recuse myself from this matter.
So should a city manager go ahead?
And
and
if
do
you
his
guys
statement?
would like to table the matter, that is something that you guys can decide as council.
Can you do your statement? Okay, city manager will do his statement.
Thank you, members of the council, for the opportunity to speak on the matter. I would like to thank everyone who has reached out to me to express their support of me and my staff. I would also like to thank the city staff and my department heads who work tirelessly day in and day out to make a positive difference in Selma. At the end of the day, the matter being discussed tonight is not really about me, but rather about a broader conversation in Selma around a changing culture in our local government. Pushback and a desire by some to maintain the status quo are always expected when there is positive change. And I am grateful to the City of Selma staff and partners who have embraced the vision of a prosperous Selma that serves all residents. While I believe the time and place will come for me to address the specific points which relate to me and the claim being considered tonight, that time and place is not here or now. However, there is a matter which concerns my integrity and values, which I feel is imperative for me to address. The claim being considered tonight is dated as of February 6, 2023, which coincides with a council meeting which I declined to cancel at the request of 3 council members, including the author of the claim. I declined to cancel the meeting in order to comply with California state law and specifically the Brown Act, which regulates public meetings. Whether or not the claim being considered tonight constitutes retaliation against me by one of the council members for refusing to break the law is not a determination I can make or should I make, but that decision will be made by one way or another by the appropriate parties. In any case, I want to make it clear that no amount of pressure, attempts at intimidation, or retaliation will ever cause me to turn my back on my personal integrity, professional ethics and values, and commitment to doing the right thing for Selma. I'd like to end by saying that in my years of public service, never have I been prouder of my community than in the last month. I have seen firsthand the unity, respect, grace, love, and support that the people of Selma have shown one another. I only ask that we continue to build on that unity, strengthen it, and resist attempts to divide the community, because when all is said and done, the only way Selma can move forward is together. Thank you.
Okay, let's go to public comment. Oh, I'm sorry.
Can I address a few things first before we start
Sure,
with public
sure.
comment? Just, there's a couple of things I wanted to clear up. First, being the reason that we're hearing this in open session, was 1, a request from council. Number 2, threats of litigation are a public record. The redactions that are made were a determination by me based on not revealing, while threats of litigation are a public record, certain things are still confidential and privileged information, and such confidential and privileged information was appropriately redacted from the claim, and that is why you are seeing a redacted version. Any member of the public that makes a public record request will receive the same redacted version of that claim. And the last thing I just wanted to address, because I received a question about it, one of the redactions almost seems to implicate that the city manager threatened to hit Mayor Robertson in the face. I just want to make clear that that was not the person he alleges was going to hit him in the face. I redacted the positions of that specific person so that people could not try to make guesses as to who he was alleging that against. And that's it.
Okay, thank you for clearing that up. Comment on council first.
So is the mayor going to get afforded his time to read his version?
That he did.
If he were to read his version are you talking about the full complaint?
That's correct.
If he were to reveal his full complaint to the public, he will be revealing privileged and confidential information. So if he were to do that, he would be subject to consequences.
So do you want me to do it?
Go ahead.
So, I wanted to address specifically, and to, also talk about the redacted information, like it's specified, it's privileged information. And so there are things that happen behind closed doors that cannot come out to the public. One of the things that I wanted to clarify with this is, as elected officials, we are not employees of the city of Selma. So we are not, we don't have the same privileges as if we were, city, employees. We do not get protected by harassment. We do not get protected by retaliation. We don't have any of those protections. There are very fine lines when a council member is an employee and when they are an elected official. The only way that we are able, as an employee, if there's any harassment or any retaliation, what happens is, there's things that you are, can, ask for. You can ask for, certain things. We can't get demoted, we can't get fired, we can't get disciplined, other than if we choose to step down. If for some reason we get recalled, or for some reason there are investigations and the DA says that you have to step down. Those are the only ways that we are able to not be participants of city council. I myself had asked that question before, and that was the information that I received. So as far as, there's a lot of heavily redacted information, as our city attorney mentioned, and there's a reason for that. There's a reason, but at the end of the day, the actions and the history speaks for itself. What I can say is, in a lot of these, the common denominator is the same. And so we really have to look at that, right? There are always three sides of the story. There's, one person's side, the other person's side, but somewhere in the middle, there's the truth. And I know myself, I can sit here with integrity and confidence that I am making my decisions solely on what I know and what I am reading. And as far as being compliant, there is nothing going on in the background about anything. We are here to move our city forward, and that's what we're here to do. And I was told on very many occasions, many occasions, because before I sat here and took an oath to represent the city of Selma, I was having to fight for this seat. And I fought hard because I wanted to make sure that I had the voice for the city of Selma. And that's what I'm doing. And that's what I'm doing here. And I was told on several occasions that I had to have thick skin because I chose to run for this position. And so I had to have thick skin. And so guess what? I am still standing here, and I will still continue to stand here, and I will continue to move the city forward, and I will continue to support the city staff 100%, because I feel that they are doing a very good job. And like I mentioned last week, a wise person told me, we are elected officials. We actually, in order for us to have a legacy, it's who do we appoint in those important key positions. That's going to be our legacy, is what are they doing at the end of the day. And so if they're working, let them work. I'm a boss to two people. I'm a boss to the city manager and the city attorney. And I also have the citizens of Selma to represent and to respond to. So if anybody has any questions for me, if they feel that I'm sneaking around or what have you, come and talk to me, because I will give you the full story as much as I can. Again, there's privileged information. And again, I have gotten a lot of thick skin, and I will continue to work for the citizens of Selma, and I will continue to support my staff. Thank you.
Okay, so first of all, I'd like to thank all my constituents and my community that have reached out to me. Many questions and many answers, and my answer was always, whatever's redacted, I cannot say. Basically, this started February 6th. February 6th, someone requested to have a meeting canceled. The meeting wasn't canceled, but there was reasons why. There's laws that we have to maintain. We're guided by. You don't just pull up a meeting and decide just cancel it. You have to post it. You have to come on a dais and cancel the meeting. I wasn't privy to that because other people were having that discussion. And apparently 3 people got together and said, yeah, we're going to cancel it. But when it all came down, the meeting didn't get canceled because there was a following of you can't cancel it. Not to mention the fact of a violation of a Brown Act at that time, that people have been in office for 10 to 12 years. The biggest option we have here in this community is the fact that when are we going to start governing from the city management level to the city attorney level and letting staff do their job? What we're actually looking at today is we're looking at a claim. I don't want to bring the innuendos of the dramas and stuff. This is a written out claim on February 6th. And let me put a number to what the claim is. He's asked for insurance till he's 65 years old. That's probably $324,000. He's asked for legal mediation, which means every time the city manager wants to talk to the mayor, he wants it to be written out and talk to the legal department, our attorney, and our attorney via talks to the city manager. And the city manager talks to the attorney and then talks to him. Well, you know what? I want to inform you guys. In 2016, there's an identical resolution that's public records that he had the same claim with another city manager. So one more, he's asked for $5,000 every time our city manager looks at him in an awkward way. I've been in office for 4 years, maybe, and 6 months. And I've been in office when I was 23 years old. I have never participated in discussions like this. But I will tell you guys this, I'm going to put a numbers to it. You're looking at $524,000. That's going to impact the general fund. I don't look at anything else, but I serve my community. And when I talk to people, I talk about numbers. I know it's sometimes harsh, but I talk about numbers. $524,000 for an individual that decides to tell our community that it's not okay to be talked to and not okay to be told no. We all been told no. I own a couple of businesses. People tell me no all the time. I have to humble myself. I humble myself to this community. The fact of the matter is this. Do we accept a claim that's going to cost the community $524,000? That's a rough estimate. And you know what? Maybe it might it might impact us. We have to raise property taxes. I talked to my constituents all today in the past week about this. The fact of the matter is, we were elected to do a job. We're not here as an elected official to tell and look at somebody in the eyes and tell them a lie and say, they're saying and they're doing this. They're going in the back door and talking and doing this. We don't do that. That's the past. That's the past. What we have decided to do is raise our hand and say that we're here for the community of Selma and we're electing people to sit, and we're proud to have hired a good staff, and we are financially indebted to the community of Selma. So when somebody comes to us and asks us for $5,000 because you looked at me wrong and you guys think it's okay, raise your hands, tell me it's okay. But if the majority tells me, then we'll do it. But we're not going to do it on my watch. So what I want to tell my community is this. Insurance for a mayor that has an insurance company? An insurance company. He wants insurance and he has an insurance company. He wants you, the members of community, you business owners, to pay for his insurance. Because we decided to hire a competent city manager that's running and staying in his lane. What I have preached since five years is to everybody stay in their lane and let people manage on their own. So when you ask me how I feel, I'm letting you guys know, and I'm just talking about the numbers. $524,000 is what he's asking for. That's a rough estimate. Let's put it down. Let's just put it, let's not talk about the window dressings. Let's not talk about the drama. Let's just talk about what are the numbers. 10 years, $524,000. Why? Because he looked at me wrong. Why? Because the city attorney has to mediate in between him. We need to know between. Well, you know what? 2016, they did the same thing. But what happened was in 2016, they had a majority council that went ahead and kicked it and decided to approve it. And then 10, 20 years later, it got redacted and it got pulled out and people got to be able to see it. You're not going to get that in this council because it's not right. What's the right thing? The right thing is to reject it, have, and let the community know what we're doing. So when you sit here and you ask and you accuse, if you're an elected official in the past and you did that, you should be ashamed of yourself. If you're an elected official and you stood up for it, I applaud you. But when you start looking at the numbers and they're $524,000 to give the opportunity to a person to walk away, and he owns an insurance company. He owns an insurance company and wants insurance paid by the city residents of Selma. That's what we're asking for. So let this be clear. This community is going to move forward. We're going to change the culture in this community. We're going to back all our community. We're going to back all our city staff. We're going to back our city manager, and we're going to reject this claim. But I want you guys have all the right to come up here and tell us you should pay him. You should pay him. You have the right. But as long as you voted me in, I'm going to do what's right for our community, and we're going to reject this claim. And I'm only being honest. If you want to come to my office like everybody's been going and telling me, that's fine. But if you want to pay him $524,000, my office is 30, I don't know. Just call me and tell me that you guys, I have too many offices. Call me and tell me you guys are okay to give him $524,000 for him and his wife, even though he owns an insurance company. Okay. Aside of that, I thank you guys for the time. That's where I stand.
Okay, I have one statement. I am very proud of our city staff, city attorney and city manager. And that's all I have to say. Let's go ahead, open to public.
Okay, well, I want to clarify something because some of the statements that Mr. Trujillo has stated are inaccurate. The meeting that happened on February the 7th was the 6th council meeting. I had requested to postpone the meeting because that was the day that we were doing a service at our community, at our Catholic church for Officer Carrasco, our officer that was killed that day. I was the only one that asked. We asked on ample time. We gave enough notice to postpone the meeting. And that's what it was. There was no 3 people that got together. I thought it was appropriate request. I don't believe that there's one citizen in Selma, California, that would have objected because of what has happened to one of our own. And that was Officer Carrasco that was killed. So to ask to postpone a meeting should have been automatic by the staff because we had staff crying, couldn't even function in our city. And they should have been able to give that opportunity to say, let's postpone a meeting. I don't think there's one person in this community that would have said, oh no, you have to have this meeting. Because if you do, I'd love to hear it. That's what happened. The other thing is you get to hear one side of this story you want to call about a mayor asking for benefits. That's inaccurate. The statement that they blacked out won't give you his side as to why what really went on. And I'll tell you, this didn't start in February. This has gone on because of the harassment. He was accused of certain things that was a lie, a total lie. So until the citizens get the truth as to what really happened, that is what you all need to know. This is one-sided. And so many people have come to us. They come to our office and ask, thank you. Thank you for being open. Thank you for being transparent. You guys protect our city funds. We have lost, we want to talk about money, the firing of Teresa Gallivan, the firing of the attorney, the firing of our chief of police, the firing. How many people did we fire under this watch? You want to talk about wasting public funds? You want to talk about how much did we spend on Navarro's, council member Navarro's legal fees? $48,000 of public funds. That's taxpayers' money, people. Wake up. Wake up. Now where's the fairness now? Get Mayor Robertson in here and let him tell his side.
Okay, you done? Point of clarification. The meeting could not be canceled, correct? It could not be canceled.
The only way the meeting could have been canceled is if a quorum didn't show up. So you guys could have all not shown up and then we wouldn't have had quorum to do business. Or a quorum came and opened the meeting and decided to postpone it.
Okay, that's
That-
one.
Those are the two
Okay,
mechanisms.
that's one. The other point of clarification is the last page does say he wants insurance for 10 years or something. So I don't know where I'm hearing or reading something totally different. I just want to clarify the 2 points that you just stated. And there's no reason to get upset and there's no reason to get loud. We're having a discussion here. Things are going, we as a city council, we just discuss it. And point of clarifications are, number one, we couldn't cancel the meeting because you have to come to the dais and you have to vote, hey, let's cancel the meeting. There wasn't that. Maybe there was a little discussion, but that's that way. So that's one. Number two, this meeting was on February 6th. We terminated this meeting at 6:25, right, Bev?
Yes.
And
yes,
we
we
were,
did.
and I didn't go, I did not attend, but everybody went and attended the church.
We did.
Everybody attended it. So let's not make it a point for something else. I want to point clarifications as to, number one, the council, in order to cancel a meeting, you have to have 3 votes on a dais. Number two, he did, and you guys have the opportunity to look at it. The 5th page does read out that he does want insurance for him and his wife. That's an insurance agent. And number three, he has the opportunity to come here, even though our city attorney asked him not to read it. He has the opportunity to come read the whole statement. He has that opportunity. If you want to bring him in so he can read all 5 pages, that's fine. But he is going to get hit with a violation. And we are going to walk through, we are going to see this through. The majority of the council is going to sit on the dais. They are going to vote and we're going to take it to the worst position. So if you want to do that, you go right ahead.
And I also wanted to clarify on the point of clarification. There was a public hearing that evening and we could not cancel that public hearing. And as Councilmember Trujillo said, we were adjourned at 6:25 so that we could allow staff to attend the vigil, which I actually attended myself. And I walked in right after the priest did. So we were able to get there I got there within like 3 minutes. And so staff followed me. And so they were able to attend because we made sure that we knew everyone had heavy hearts. And so we knew that we needed to get down to business and get the points across that we needed to get through. And we adjourned the meeting quickly so that staff could attend.
Thank you. Anyone else on council? Okay, public comments.
Jim Avilo, 1701 Dinuba. Unfortunately, it's got this far. It's terrible to see the city of Selma getting in the black eye in the public sector, not caring about what is going on in the city of Selma. Dwight Nelson worried about his projects, not informed by the city. I respect this gentleman. Projects that are being delayed because, things are not being done. There's too much conflict. We got to straighten the conflict out, guys. You want to see things grow, and you got to get rid of some issues in life. Put your differences aside. Take what is important to the city. Take care of this man's sidewalk over here. He needed a sidewalk. You forgot about it. Okay, there's other things in the city that you guys forgot about taking care of the public itself. Seem like you want to take care of one item that doesn't help the city. It gives the city a black eye, guys. And the attorney over here, you should have protected the city. When I say protect the city, I mean, protect the city overall. You know, you're here to protect. Make sure these council people and the city is protected. But apparently you did not do that. Apparently you, you did something that could cost the city dramatic money. We don't know that. You know, either side. You know, when I say either side, that's what I mean. You know, either staff or council, whatever. This is something that should have been litigated behind closed doors and fixed. And unfortunately, when you bring it out to the, you know, to the public, you know, doesn't look good, guys. It shows that, hey, all you care about this and that, but you don't care about what's happening in the city. You don't care about the guy's sidewalk. Dwight Nelson over here, his project, his business owners in our community, tax bases coming in. All you care, you know, money. This is about money. Instead of spending money, you got to make sure you get money coming in, you know? So it's, you guys, I would take a step back, and I would just take a step back, please. Pull this off the item, guys, okay? And be respectful. I got to ask you, don't give Selma a black eye. You know, you're going to look bad, guys. Not just the city of Selma, through other cities. They're all looking at you guys. Trust me, I know for a fact. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mike Nelson, 2755 Automobile Drive. I'm going to give you my advice. Police officer was killed. Could there have been a council meeting that night? Hell no. I don't know what was motivating you as a council. I know if it was one of your children, you would not have had a council meeting that night. What has gone on between city manager and the mayor, I don't know. But I do know what's gone on between me and your city. I will tell you, I know there's two sides to this story. I believe, and know me, that I haven't always been a real advocate of Scott Robertson as mayor. But I have to say that this happened a month ago. Today's the 6th and it's February 6th. This happened a month ago. Why in the world didn't you get together and solve the problem and not make it what it is today? And that is a major, major concern of mine, because I'm trying to get things done. For 5 years, I've tried to get something done for Selma to bring in more jobs, more business, more sales tax. 5 years. Last week, I was in a meeting with the city manager, trying to figure out how to solve a problem. I said, let's make a deal. And you know what he said to me? I don't make deals. I said, what do we do now? Well, here's our city attorney. And he gave me your city attorney's name. I've tried to contact her all day today, and there's been no response. You guys should step back, take a little breath, get together with Scott, and say, let's bury this thing. Come on. Let's all work together. Get the city manager to start working for we, the people that are bringing business and people to this Selma. He doesn't live here. And I guarantee you he won't be here in a few years. But we will. So allow us to work together. And I'm going to tell you this, the honest God truth. Last Friday, I tried to get a hold of somebody in the planning department, no call back. Today, I went to City Hall, tried to meet with somebody in the planning department, no call back. I called and said, please have him call me back. Finally, had to disguise who I was to get a hold of him. And he tells me, well, I'm a contract planner. I said, what does that mean? Well, I work for Quadnoff, I believe it is. And I just work on an hourly basis. I said, why didn't you call me back? Well, wasn't sure that was important. I said, you're closing the friggin' off-ramp into Selma. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. Jerry Farning last Wednesday night when I called him. White, nobody's told me this. I said, yeah, they're closing the off-ramp. How are our customers going to get here? I don't know. No one from the city made any effort at all to talk to us as business people. You got a problem internally.
Okay.
That
All right.
manifested into a fight between
Thank
Scott
you.
Robertson
Thank you,
and the
Mr.
city
Nelson.
manager. You should look into it. Thank you.
Thank you.
evening, Yvette Montijo, 1092 Gordon. And Mr. Nelson, I'm really glad you brought up a lot of those points, 'cause I can address some of them. I back the city manager 110% because I know Scott Robertson really, really well. Better than I would like to know. I used to sit on council with Mr. Avalos, Mr. Franco, Mr. Robertson, Mike Durr. And ever since I've known Scott, he has always had someone in his crosshairs. He's a narcissistic personality who always plays the victim. First, he started out with Dennis Lujan, got rid of him. He worked on George Rodriguez, got rid of him. Ken Gray in the 2016 resolution, got rid of Ken Gray, got rid of Greg Garner, Steve Arabaran, Bianca Sparks, the city attorney, went after Louis Franco, came after me with a vengeance. And so here we are. You know, you talk about Scott needs to tell his side of the story. Scott's never wanted to tell his side of the story when it comes to this. This is why this was put into closed session, because he didn't want anyone to know how much this was going to cost the city. It's going to cost the city, what, $324,000 for insurance, right? $324,000. What is insurance? What does insurance benefits have to do with being told no with city council? Scott's never been able to stay in his lane. He doesn't understand that being mayor is just a ceremonial position. He gets to sign the documents, he gets to shake hands, and he gets to kiss babies. But beyond that, that's it. He has one vote just like the rest of you. It isn't like Fresno. He's not Jerry Dyer. He's not a strong mayor. And that's what people need to understand. $5,000 a pop out of our city coffers. I hear you up there when Scott was up there and you, Sarah, talking about, oh, this program for the school district, so wonderful. Thank you. It warms your heart. But you know, we're looking at $500,000 potentially that could be erased out of the general fund that could go towards helping other programs.
Thank you.
May I have your 3 minutes?
No, oh,
So may I continue? Because I
Who gets to
certainly
call
have
that?
a lot to say about this. And the thing about Don Tao saying that he died of a
hold
heart
on,
attack
please.
because
Yvette,
Again, double standards.
You guys can decide if that's completely up to you guys, but if you give it to her, you have to allow everyone else to do that as well.
what do you
think of
say?
Don Tao's family.
What do you say?
No.
I know. I think we're gonna have to call it.
Well, I
Sorry.
want you to think about Don Tao's family. He says Don Tao died because of a heart attack due to the mayor's.
You had your
pressures.
3 minutes.
You had more than that, Sarah, and quite frankly, I don't believe.
I'm
you
a
deserve
council
it.
member.
Just barely.
Okay,
So you have yourself a good evening.
you
and I'm
too.
sure
Thank
all of
you.
our
Thank you,
friends-
Yvette. Thank you.
Louis Franco, 1064 Mill Street. Something came to my realization right here, and I don't know, council member, today is Mayor Pro Tem Cho. Has the city looked at a possible conflict of interest from Councilwoman Guerra, being that she is a partner with Scott Robertson and a blood relative of Rose?
We're not blood relatives.
You're not blood, okay, a sister of Rose, Rose Gallardo? Robertson?
Rose is my sister. We are blood related, but Scott Roberts and I
But-
are not.
What I'm saying is if you're a partner with the mayor and all of you work for the same
partnership or business, aren't we voting to give taxpayer funds that would give a financial benefit if we're voting, as it says right here, so you can see, on the last paragraph, insurance for myself and my spouse, Rose Gallardo Robertson, until I reach the age of 65, isn't that a cost saving to your business? So I just don't know if that is a financial conflict of interest. So I don't know if the city looked at it that perspective, and if so, if it is, maybe you want to recuse yourself so you don't, do anything inappropriate with that coming to light. So I'd like to point that out. And then I would like to share that I do agree with Yvette Montijo, who just spoke about her comments. Right here, actually, it's almost 7 years to the date, tomorrow's anniversary. Here's the actual confidential resolution, where it shows that the city manager at the time, Ken Gray, is not allowed to contact the mayor, has to go through the city attorney, kind of identical with this, and the common denominator is Scott Robertson. It's one thing to say it's this person or that, but over the last decade, especially last 7 years, all the legal issues, all the personnel issues, there's one common denominator, and that's Scott Robertson. So I think if we want to look at the causes rather than looking at egos and stuff, we don't say, well, what are we doing and why are we continuing to do that? So this is my thoughts. I support council. I support city manager. I support all the businesses in here. I think we can move forward, but we have to look, if we're going to continue to tolerate somebody because they don't get their way, we at the meeting have to say, when are we going to move forward? That's all I'm saying.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Teresa Sala, 1701 Dinuba Avenue. I was a city employee for 20 years, and I know that the relationship that the council's supposed to have with the city manager, they hire the city manager, they hire the city attorney, and then allow them to do the rest of the hiring, the rest of the jobs for the city. That none of the city council should be hiring the police chief and the fire chief. That's up to the city manager to do. Hired Mr. Santillan as your city manager. You need to give him his lead to do what you hired him to do. You hired your city attorney. I know that it takes like 1,000,000 years to get a license to be an attorney. And so I'm not going to be telling her what she needs to do or what she can and can't do. That is what she went to school for. That's why we hired her to give us the legal ins and outs of what we can and cannot do. We've talked about a code of conduct for the council that just keeps getting pushed aside and pushed aside. And Mayor Robertson and Council Member Guerra are against any type of updating of our code of conduct for the council. But it seems to me like this is a really good time when it would have probably come in handy had it all been all ironed out previous to this. The city council meeting, I was acting city clerk many times when I was here. And when you have a public hearing on the agenda, you can't just say, we're not going to have the meeting, because the people who that's noticed to may not be citizens of the city of Selma. It could be some construction company from Timbuktu for all we know. And they were told that there was going to be a meeting with their item on that agenda. So there was a public hearing on that agenda. So we had to have a meeting. I was here for the meeting and everything else just went table, table, table. So they got to the public hearing. They did what they needed to do for the public hearing, tabled the rest of it, and everyone was able to, including myself, make it in time to the church for the memorial service for our police officer. If people would just keep calm heads and discuss these things, all of this came about
if people are upset because we couldn't cancel a meeting. There's a reason we couldn't cancel the meeting. There's a reason that we have an attorney telling us what we can and can't do. There's a reason we have the city manager running the day-to-day operations of the city.
Thank you. Anyone else?
My name is Joe Gonzalez, 2305 Nebraska on the Lateral. I'm listening to everything that's going on, and I've known Scott. I helped Scott get voted in. He walked the water with me. We've done a lot of things together. And it seems to me like he's being railroaded. And one thing I gotta mention, look at each other, and who are you gonna fire next? That on your agenda? Better be careful.
Thank you.
Evening, everyone. Pastor Marty, 1801 Second Street. Actually, this came to city council tonight. I didn't know this came to see all you guys. But I just want to say this, Jesus, amen? Learn to get along with each other. And there's a thing called an accord. There's difference in unity and accord. An accord is when two warring countries can come together and for the better of the people come to a peace agreement. You guys need to find that place. But I do want to say a little bit of clarity because council member Guerra, you're right. Officer Carrasco deserved all of it that he received. And I can say the community, the county, state turned out really well for our officer. But he went down and on Tuesday night, we had a prayer vigil right here in Veterans Plaza. By the way, Scott was there. Mayor Robertson was there. But Thursday night, we had another prayer vigil. Probably some hundreds of people were there with all the departments from all over. Friday morning, we had a prayer vigil, Seventh-day Adventist Church. And then Monday night, we had another prayer vigil at the Catholic Church. I just want to say with clarity, this wasn't just about overlooking something. It's just, there could have been prayer vigils 7, 8 days a week. Life's still got to go on. You got to get some things done. And I was here on that council meeting. I thought it was very respectful, the fact that it was done at 6:25. I didn't go to that prayer vigil because I'd been to 3 already. But I thought it was very respectful because I thought, wow, everybody can get to that prayer vigil on time. I didn't come here to really say anything. I don't have a dog in this race. I do respect Fernando quite highly and his position. I'm thankful for him. But, you got to learn to, it needs to stop. It really does. Our town's worth more than, it's just worth more.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Ten 57 Mill Street, Rose Robertson. Again, on the mayor's complaint, there's a lot blacked out by the city on the mayor's complaint. We are not being told the whole story. I wonder if we're just seeing the information that makes the 3 on the council look better. Once again, targeting the mayor for doing his job. It's obvious personnel information about the mayor is not protected and anything goes about him. But anything spoken to employees or about employees is a very great legal wrong. What about a double standard? We voted all of you in to work together, not to try to harass our mayor who's been elected for the 2nd time by the people because they deserve transparency and they deserve what our council does. From 2013, bring back whatever you want to bring back. If that's all you guys have, then you better think twice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jennifer Guerra, 1364 Stillman Street. I'm not picking any sides. You know, it seems like there's this thing called pride. I look over at the city of Kingsburg and it's like, I look at them and I see what's going up and I'm like, man, they're doing a great thing. You know, what are they doing that we're not doing here in Selma? We're bigger than them. You know, when we started here, this is a great little town and frankly, I'm embarrassed. Guys, we need to work together. I'm looking at I work in Feller. I love that community. It reminds me of Selma. Put that pride down, guys. Talk to each other. That's the only way that we're going to resolve this issue. I don't care about anything else. Please just talk to each other. I can see from coming in here, I can see the left side and some people on the right side. Come on. The pastor's talking about Jesus. Yes, we need some Jesus in here. Please just talk to each other. Humble yourselves. Let's get this city going again, okay?
Thank you. Anyone?
Louis Quintana, 2435 Chaparral Lane. I too would like to echo, since I have been back in Selma, the professionalism and the work ethic of our city manager. I want to just say that he is demonstrated, even in the heat of the moment on the dais there, a very, very professional demeanor. What happens behind closed doors, I could only speculate that the same response is mirrored after talking to Mr. Santillan on several occasions. I believe his heart is for the city, even if he does not live in the community. I believe his interest is to see Selma become a great city that it needs to become. Excuse me. I believe he has the support of many of the citizens of Selma to move our city forward because it's his job. That's what he was hired to do. And as a council, I believe that everybody's staying in their lane. From my, again, history and my crash course in politics over the last election, it's my understanding that the mayor is 1/5 of the vote. Like Mrs. Montijo pointed out, people staying in their lane, people doing what they are asked to do is to move the city forward. It is embarrassing to have a stigma as you say that you are from the city among the other cities in the communities surrounding Selma because they hear the political war on the dais that happens, politicking here, politicking there. I'm all for making deals with businessmen in the community to move Selma forward in a legal, transparent way. We need to move the city forward as long as it's legal. I think that's how we work together. And you know, the comment that Pastor Marty made and our other citizen here, you know, they're saying bring Jesus into the picture. Jesus says he's the way, the truth, and the life. And I want to say this, let's have the truth come forward from the dais. I'm working among, again, the city manager with everybody. Let's be transparent. We want to see what's happening and we actually demand transparency. We would like to know what's happening, again, within the legal guidelines and everything that needs to be done in a legal manner. But we would like to see the city come out of this war, work together and bring us forward. Let's look into the future. We believe Selma could be the great little city that it needs to be. And again, if you want the same Selma, and I'm speaking to the community at large, you'll continue to keep the same council members in place. If you want change, bring other council members. You have that right. You can go to vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
As a reminder to the callers that we have on Zoom, if you would like to be added to the meeting queue, please use the raise your hand feature and we will include you in on the meeting queue. Thank you.
Do we have any? None. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Robert Cortez, 1751 McCall. I came to the meeting on the 6th of February. I'm not here to judge anybody here. I did come to the meeting, and I know that we're gonna have a service for this police officer at St. Joseph's Church. It totally didn't bother me too much, but I says if I could get over there, then I'll make an effort to get over there as quick as this meeting is over. So, when I did come to the meeting and they did have the meeting, the first thing that came into my head was the Brown Act. Okay. I don't know whether it's mandatory to do it under the Brown Act, but if it was, then you probably needed to come here and do something. Okay. Now, it took maybe 20 some minutes before you went through the agenda, and then after the agenda, there was a vote, if I remember right, on a certain subject. Okay, after that, I think it was the Mayor Pro Tem who ended the meeting, and then everybody left, and I was okay with that. And I also went to the church, and matter of fact, I'll tell you that the priest did an excellent job in what he talked about, officer. So we have to see both sides of the issue in some way to see where there can be a meeting like this. Okay? That's all I'm saying. Right? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else?
Bridge 1383 South Spokane, City of Selma. When there's gonna be change, there's gonna be pain. Because there's pain, doesn't mean that we stop change that we need to make. I encourage you guys that are fighting to make change, make that change. Keep going. Praying for you guys. Praying for our city council. We're invested in the city of Selma. And we know that God has something special for Selma. Growing pains, plants are not. They're not fun. I remember my boy when he was in wrestling. Growing fast. He gets big, as well he's big. And I tell him this growing pains, we got to work through them. At the end of the day, give it all you got, you can accomplish what you want. In 2009, 2015, he was our national champion. He had to go through that pain. Sometimes you want to give up, but just know that at the end of the day, it'll be well worth it. Hey, manager, I've worked with them. I've in here and showing my plans, and it's always been fair. Sometimes he doesn't give me the answer I want to hear, but you know what? He's always been fair. The city council, I work with the city council. I come alongside each one of you guys, and I've always tried to keep each one of you guys as my friend, and I never try to take nothing personal because of politics or whatever, but I've had some people reject me because of politics. But at the end of the day, we're a small city. We all gotta get along. Gotta work together. Know that your community is praying for you guys. Our churches are praying for you guys. We love you guys. But let's keep going forward, even in the midst of the pain. Keep going forward. That God's gonna do his perfect will. God bless you guys.
Thank you. So bring it back to council. Any more? Do we need an action? Motion.
Yeah, and one thing I just want to clarify before you guys vote, specifically the reason that we're voting on this is because the person who brought the claim asked for it to be considered a government claim and that the city send a notice of rejection, a written notice of rejection. So that is why you guys are taking action on this item tonight.
Okay, I'd like to, before we place this vote, I'd like to, hearing the community, I think it's going back to double back and, there's been talk in regards to, I can't believe you guys had a city council meeting, again, I'll go back to when I was 23 years old, an elected official. I was taught by a District 4 representative, Vernon Conrad from Wheatley. And he told me, when you take that oath, good or bad, you got to represent your city. And you got to, at hard times, you got to make the decisions. And when, I take it as a point that, I really want to commend our staff for what occurred, but at the same time, they were here at staff level talking about and working on issues that pertain to the city government. We are elected by the people and asked to do our job, to sit here and do a job. If it means that we go here and we have a meeting for 30 minutes or 20 minutes, but we do our job. Some people elect and say, hey, no, that's not important. I think it's more important that I go. That's a difference of opinion, and that's a difference of understanding on their behalf. But on my behalf, I felt that I gave my input to the city manager. We need to follow with the meeting because we got directed that we had a public hearing. That mattered to our city government, and municipal government moves so slow that when you miss a public hearing, you're gonna move it over to another day of day. But, so that's one point of clarification. The other one is, working together, being humble, being honest, and being straight up. Just because you're humble, honest, and straight up doesn't mean that people are gonna look through their ends and believe you. And that's what we have. We have difference of opinions. Other people are looking through their lens and saying, you're a liar. You guys are trying to pick on him. But if you go back, we've been asking for a code of conduct for many years. We've been asking for a handbook. We've been asking for professionality. We've been asking for a government rule where we can just follow and have meetings where someone can say no, yes, and not offend somebody and not get pointed at and get yelled at. Things have run its course. They've run its course because of the fact that people's opinions and matters, their decisions have been to not elect to have a code of conduct, not to elect to have a handbook. Those are items that you install in your municipal government or you install in your business to make sure we don't have the problem we have right now. When we went on January 6th and we decided to put this and deny this claim here now, we wanted to make sure that we had open communication and be transparent. But at the same time, a rejection of a claim is just going to turn out to be wherever they want to move it. And from our legal department, if you guys read it correctly there, she read it and said, hey, I think we can reject this. We should reject it, and we're rejecting it. But I want you guys to know, just because we decided to reject this claim doesn't mean that we're not allowing to be on his side or allowing to negotiate to everybody work together. We all love Selma. I have 3 businesses in Selma. I moved here in 2020. Bev has a business since 60s.
It'll be 60 years.
We love this community, and we probably give more money than somebody else. And we're probably out there more, but we don't go and show that. We don't want to do that. We don't have to do it. People know. So when we start talking about loving, respecting, and being, that's the facade. What's inside of you, what you really mean and what you want to do. We want to govern where we want to make sure it's respectful. And we're asking for respect. And right now we're asked to either vote yes or no. And I want to make sure that everybody knows that you can look through your lens and not agree with me, but I still love you as a person. You can have an opinion, but I have a job to do. I have to look at all the facts and I have to ask myself, is this warrant for our community to pay him $524,000, even though he's an insurance agent? He wants insurance. He's an insurance agent. Take all the window dressing out. He wants insurance. He wants our city to pay him. So that's my opinion and I stand.
Okay. Need a motion?
I'll make a motion to consider rejection of this claim.
I'll second it.
Okay, roll call.
Councilmember Mendoza Navarro,
Yes.
Councilmember Trujillo,
Yes.
Councilmember Guerra,
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Cho.
Yes. Okay, check register. Any,
Want to bring it back?
Bring them
oh,
back.
I'm sorry. Bring it back. Two. We'll bring it back first. Okay.
Mhm.
Item 3, the check register, which is dated February 28th, 2023.
Okay.
Councilmember?
Here. Okay, I have a couple here. Check number 81165. Yanabi and Horn Engineering Services, December of 22. And it shows here a partial R for the amount of 55,958.67. Now, what's two questions? What is this one for?
It's our city engineering services.
Okay. And then it says partial R, so partial reimbursement. How much of it is reimbursed?
I can give you that information or follow up with that information. I don't have that specific number. The reason it's partial is because some of the work that the city engineer does is reimbursed either through application fees or through grants. But if you'd like, I can follow up with the exact figure.
Okay. And then down at the bottom here, check number 81208, Raul Escamilla Concrete, curb and gutter repair, Second Street, Front Street. And it says PW will be voiding check in the amount of 8,950. So is the amount, it's just confusing, is the amount being paid or the check being voided out?
That amount is not being paid, it's being voided. And we will come back at a later date with the correct amount.
Okay, because on your Cal card, you have parentheses where it's a credit. And this one doesn't, so that's why I was questioning that.
Yeah, the Cal card is a completely separate transaction.
Okay. Check number 81225, Alfred Lopez Hernandez Jr., Hernandez and Sons Mobile Diesel. A repair 1E110, and it says FD for fire, I believe, in the amount of 13,424.35.
That was a significant repair that had to be done on the engine and components of one of our fire engines.
Okay. Okay. And then Anchor Street, let me see. Okay. Check number 81283, Zumar Industries. And it says perforated anchors for street signs PW in the amount of $903.27.
I can answer that, council. Those are footings for the stop sign, street signs that we put in in the ground. So if somebody hits the sign themselves, we could just pull the sign out and replace the sign without having to dig or excavate in the concrete.
Okay. And that just leads me to another question. Do you know where we are now with the new signs? I know we've talked about replacing and replacing some of these signs that you can't even read. Especially, I mean, there's some that are just totally blocked out. I mean, you can't read them at all.
But we are in the process of getting that ready to go. We have a new laptop that has a printer that we're gonna print out the signs. We've got all the material now. We just have to get it set up and start printing the signs and putting them back up. So that is in the process.
And then just on the cement work, city manager, are we looking into what happened to Mr. Gonzalez's area, why he didn't get a cement put in his location?
Absolutely. We can look into that and bring it back to
Perfect.
council.
And then just one other question. I know I questioned it at my last meeting in regards to the voided checks. Again, there's about 6 of them in here. Am I supposed to make the appointment, or is city gonna make the appointment for me to come by?
Well, I think the goal was to email you that information because we did print out the voided checks or PDF, the voided checks to send to you for review and then follow up with you with any questions. I think that's what we had discussed at the last council meeting, that we would send you that a sample of the voided checks. And then if that wasn't clear at that point, then we would bring it back to council.
No, I don't think it was that. It's not the check itself, it's the process. They said
Sure.
where they write out so many checks, and then if there's like, say, this is how I understood it. Say there's 10 checks, but there's 11, they skipped one and then they got to go on to the next page. I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
So
That's,
I think to facilitate that, I will have Deputy City Manager Baines reach out to you directly to schedule a meeting to go over that process to show you how that will go.
okay.
Thank you.
And that's it for me.
Okay, I have a couple. Check number 81234, page 11 of 69. Lexipol LLC, full application, assembly and grant writing for PD in the amount of $3,125. Were those PD grants that were applied for, and what were those grants applied
So
for?
I'm sorry, Mayor, Mayor, members of the council, we applied for a grant, which would be matching funds for our body worn camera program. It, in order to maximize those funds for other projects in the city, what we hope.
Item 81257, Regional Government Services, Contract Services, September through December. So 3 months, 2022, Finance and HR, $206,126.24. What was that item for?
I'll answer that, Mayor. That's Regional Government Services is the contracted consultant that is backfilling the Human Resources Department and the Finance Department. And so that's 3 months of services,
In other words, they provide employees
support services.
to fill any gaps that the city has in those departments, HR and finance. Is that correct?
Yes, on a
Not-
consulting basis, I'm sorry.
Not employees.
Yeah, not
consultants.
employees, consultants. It's
Consultants.
Consulting services, yes.
Got it. Okay, that's all I have. Anybody else? Anybody from the public have any check items on the register they'd like to question? Anybody on Zoom or online? Oh, we have a member of the public who has an item.
1057 Mill Street, Rose Robertson. So on the contract services, it has finance/HR for human resource, $206,000, $206,126,000. So is that divided by 3? So would that be $68,708.74? Finance and human resource. So is it, obviously are these temporary positions that are contracted out?
Council, would you like me to address the resident's question?
let me finish, if you don't mind, please. I have, received my summary of the benefits coverage, the ACA Affordable Care Act enrollment. So I was just, would they be contacting us, or will we be receiving one? Or can I go to them to receive that? How do I go about that?
If staff wants to answer, we can answer as members
I
of
haven't
council, and
received
it's
it.
the Brown Act violation.
Ma'am, if you'd like to come to City Hall, our finance department can assist you with that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the check register? Is there a motion to approve the check register?
Make motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Trujillo,
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza Navarro,
Yes.
Councilmember Guerra,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cho,
Yes.
Mayor Robertson.
Yes. Okay, moving on to the regular business item tonight. Does council need a break?
Yes, please.
Okay, we'll take a 5-minute break and come back at 8 PM. Okay, we're gonna get started again in about a minute. Okay, our next item is consideration of an amended fiscal year 2022-2023 budget at mid-year, allowing for additional revenues and expenditures pertaining to the various city departments.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just gonna wait for the PowerPoint to come up and then we can get going.
All right, thank you.
So the item before you is a PowerPoint presentation walking you through some of the the various departments for the mid-year budget revise. We've kind of organized it, I think, somewhat similarly than what the council has seen in previous years with some changes. And so it's going to be the PowerPoint presentation, but city staff from the various departments is available to ask to provide additional information should there be additional questions. Slide, please. So this is just a summary of everything that's entailed as proposed items before the city council for approval tonight at mid-year. Each of these items will go into further detail as far as estimated quotes, costs, and changes. And so next slide, please. We'll go with the police department first. As far as revenue changes at mid-year, we've got the parlor dispatch contract. The annual contract is $190,000. And so since the inception of the contract, which Chief, that was just this month that we went live, is $63,333 from March to June. Funding source, City of Parlier. The expenditures for the police department before the city council tonight for mid-year budget revise is the improvements to the communication system at $60,000. The funding source for that will be Fund 704, which is the data processing internal service fund. Adding the 7th dispatcher position for fiscal impact for the current fiscal year at $16,462, and that'll be funded with the Parlier dispatch contract revenue. Next slide, please. Fire department expenditures, one full-time position of an additional division chief at $47,802. The funding source for that will be Fund 600, which is the ambulance service fund. Public Works Department, we've got an additional position of a full-time fleet mechanic position at $20,000, $785. Funding source for that would be Fund 701, which is the Fleet Management Internal Service Fund. We've got the Salazar Center and the Senior Center roofs at $110,000. Funding source for that will be general fund. Cost estimate is included with a 15% contingency. As you know, construction costs are very fluid right now. So we wanted to build a contingency in from the moment that council approves the mid-year budget revise to when the actual contract is awarded. There's a contingency to ensure council approval. Fire station number 2 re-roof, $85,000. Funding source for that will be Fund 600 ambulance service internal fund. And then we've got Schaefer Park Playground at $110,000, and the funding source for that will be ARPA and general fund. Community services department, there's an expenditure which has already been approved by the city council on the December 5th council meeting, which the we're including the 2 additional positions that were approved by the city council, the administrative assistant position and the recreation coordinator position at $69,526. And so all in all, the impact to the general fund, we've got, the first, line item is the sales and use tax update. This is the 1% Bradley, sales tax. We just received estimates from HDL, which are updated to economic, conditions right now. We're estimating an additional $733,000 of additional revenues to the general fund since what was adopted by the city council in, June to fiscal year end, projected fiscal year end through June 30th, 2023. We have included $63,333 of additional revenue for the Parlier dispatch contract. The 7th dispatcher position at 16,000, Public Works, Shaper Park Playground at 110, Salazar Center, Senior Center roofs at 110. All in all, it's a quote unquote, as a business terms, it would be a profit to the general fund with these additional changes at mid-year to at $560,000, $560,000. And then there are the two previous items that have already been approved by the city council, which is was approved on the 5th, the 2 additional positions for the community services department, the master salary schedule update that was approved by the city council at a fiscal impact of $920,000, 812, with a bottom line impact for the top items that are shown here to the items that have already been approved by the council, net bottom impact at $430,000, 279. Next, we have the impact to the ambulance fund. This is the fire station number 2 roof at $85,000 and the additional division chief position, and the master salary schedule increase of $141,000 with a bottom line impact at $274,343. Next slide, please. The impact to the fleet management fund, which will be the additional full-time fleet mechanic position at $20,785. Next slide, please. The impact to the data processing fund, which is for the improvements to the communication system at $60,000.
Just a quick question.
Sure.
What's the funding source for the data processing fund?
It's an internal service fund.
And where does that money come from for the internal service fund?
We can come back to,
It's internal service fund is funded by all the other departments that go into this fund for use for improvements across the city.
Would that be, point of clarification, would that be that every department is gonna excuse some of that, so they're actually taking it out of that budget per department and giving back to that? That's what you mean?
yes.
That's correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
I wanna make sure.
Slide, please. The impact to the Measure S fund would be an adjustment to additional revenues of $405,394. This is again also an HDL update that we received from the budget that was previously approved by the city council to the mid-year adjustment, which is an additional revenue of $405,000. And so that summarizes the mid-year budget revisions that are before the city council for approval. And then the next steps would be as previously outlined at the last council meeting when we gave the mid-year budget update. Will be to have budget meetings with staff and city manager during the month of March. And then we will have budget workshops for the upcoming fiscal year, April, May, and June. And bring a budget for city council adoption at some time in June, and if not, hopefully sooner.
Definitely looking forward to a budget on time this year. Thank you. Looking forward to it. Does the council have any questions for Deputy City Manager?
I have a couple of questions and comments. You know, this is exactly what I'm looking for, the structure that I've been looking for, words like funding source, and you're adding them there. That in itself is just words that have never been spoken in the last 4 years. But that's really something of an importance when we're walking through at any time of a budget, so we can know where it's actually coming from, and it's just more transparent. So for that, I thank you. Rallying back with the, you know what, I'll hold that. I got a question, but I won't ask it now. Thank you.
Any other comments? Does the public have
I have,
anything?
I have a comment. Jasmine, on the, on your slide or the presentation is, which is great. You know, I like how you break it down. Now, my only question is for budget. I probably, you can answer that, city manager. We had breakdowns of each fund and the funding source of where they came out of. Will we be getting a balance sheet as to what we have currently and then what the impact's gonna be, and then it gives another balance?
Are you referring to the impacts as a result of these changes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because
Yeah.
it'd be updated for our budget.
Absolutely. The budget document itself will be revised to incorporate these changes, and then we can republish the revised budget.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Public have anything they'd like to say? Anybody on the phone? Online?
Okay.
I'd just like to say this is great. Additional sales tax revenue of 733,000 shows Selma's strength, which is retail sales. It's sales tax. We're a juggernaut. Like I've been saying, we are the #1 sales tax generator of any smaller city. Second or third only to Fresno County, and the city of Clovis. 9.5 million in sales tax. This is great news. And this is why we need to be helping our businesses, getting more business generation, servicing our businesses, and being more business friendly. And I really see us moving in that direction. And I think that's so important. One other part B of my comments would be, I know we've heard last 6-7 months, a lot of talk, especially by Councilman Trujillo, about this $20 million in the city, in the local area investment fund. And I've repeatedly asked for a report on the local area investment fund. And I would still like to make that request, which is per the ordinance. I'm allowed to make that request as a council member. If you want to reference that, look it up. I'm allowed to get financial information. So I'm asking for that financial information because, to go on with what I'm saying, so I'm not interrupted. The $20 million, I'd like to see, because we've heard conflicting accounts of whether the money in the local area investment fund is able to be spent in certain areas or not be able to be spent. So if there's $20 million that we keep hearing about, we need sewer infrastructure, we need roads badly, we need sidewalks. We need a lot of things in the city. And with $20 million, we could even put it towards that new park, that regional park that we had, that we don't have anymore. A regional park for the whole city that was deemed too expensive, so it was shelved. If we have $20 million, I want to know. And I'd like to see a report that shows this $20 million and where and how much can be spent on by the council's discretion, as opposed to what is encumbered. And that's my follow-up to this topic.
Thank you for everything that you've stated and how you represent. I think that question was actually to me, and I don't think you can answer that. First of all, to ask, first of all, staff, if you can bring that information back to council instead of doing it now, go back. And I just, you know, we talk about working together and we talk about, and you bring my name up. In reality, you're asking the city of Selma to build a $24 million park that you never got an analysis done. How much public works was going to be spent? You're asking for the city of Selma to spend $24 million $24 million on a park. So if you would like, I would rather, let's go back and have a workshop, or let's go back and put it back on the agenda. And let's go back and let's bring everything back and let's walk through this very slowly, because I think we've gone 3 or 4 times in regards to this item. If that's okay with you, can we put it on the agenda?
Why are you asking me?
I'm asking you.
I don't decide what's going to be on the agenda. Any council member can have anything they like
Okay.
put
Well,
on the
we can
agenda.
Put on the agenda instead of asking.
If I could respond, council member, your practice, your repeated practice is to deflect when I bring something up, or a lot of people that you don't want to answer. And my main topic was, you brought up that there was $20 million in the city. And it could be spent, and it hadn't been spent. And I'm simply asking to see a record of that local area investment fund and that 20 million, and to see what that money can be spent on, because there are a lot of needs, including the park. That's not my main topic. You branched off on that. That's how you deflected and sort of tried to distract the argument. My request, which is per the ordinance, and I can bring up the ordinance and send it to the city manager, who can send it to you, to the city attorney, is I'm asking for financial information on the local area investment fund and what the money, the funds in that can be spent on, whether they're dedicated or not. That's it. All I'm asking.
If I can make a recommendation pursuant to that request, what I see as the most appropriate time to have that discussion is when we bring a draft budget to council with CIP projects, and we're looking at ways that we can fund. I can tell you the local agency investment fund has a lot of restrictions and things that, because it's pooled money. But we can provide as much information as you would like in terms of the balances and what we can use that, if it's the council's wish to have that discussion during the draft budget workshops. Would that please the council?
Looking for that report, and I'm making a financial inquiry per the ordinance. Thank you. All right. Is there a motion to approve or not approve the amended fiscal year 2022-2023 budget?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Call the roll, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Cho,
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza Navarro,
Yes.
Councilmember Guerra,
Yes.
Councilmember Trujillo,
Yes.
Mayor Robertson.
Yes. Item 5, consideration of a resolution approving contract amendment number 1 with Rincon Consultants for the Selma zoning code update.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. This item is with regard to a grant that the city was awarded in the amount of $24,548.75. And the purpose of that grant was to develop pre-approved housing plans or architectural plans that could be used by residents who own property infill lots within the city to just walk into City Hall, receive a set of these plans and give them to their contractor to start building. That way, those individuals can save on the architecture, on the engineering, on a lot of the things, a lot of the costs that go into building. And it's a way to promote faster housing development on infill lots. And so as we're looking at ways to implement this grant, we had the opportunity with our new consultant, Rob Terry with Rincon Consultants. Rincon is also working on our zoning code update, which is moving along well, and we'll be providing an update. But the opportunity presented itself to combine the zoning code update with this project, the REAP grant project. And it's more efficient because Rincon has the capability to move that forward, and we can spend the money within the appropriate timeline and the deadlines for the grant fund. So pretty straightforward request, but I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Council have any questions for the city manager? Are there any questions by the public for the city manager? Or the council? Directed at the council.
Teresa Sala, 1701 Danube Avenue. The plans, are they gonna be like a 1 bedroom, a 2 bedroom, a 3 bedroom? That kind of sounds kind of neat. Because a lot of people don't build because of the financial cost in, you have to have your plans. And having an engineer or a contractor, whoever, do those plans costs a lot of money. And I think that people in lower income areas of town do not have the funds to do that. That's probably why a lot of those little lots sit vacant, or old houses don't get knocked down because they don't have the means to upgrade. So I think that's a really neat grant that we got.
If I may address the resident's question with regard to floor plans, we do plan on developing several floor plans with various numbers of bedrooms and that sort of thing, just because we know that there's variances in lot sizes and those kinds of things. So we do plan to address that.
I have a question. Are there any CEQA issues or any liability issues for having these floor plans?
That's a very good question. You know, the law provides for CEQA exemptions for infill lots and housing, especially on infill lots. So we wouldn't have any issues to that effect. And Mr. Terry is on the line. Welcome back, Rob. If you have anything to add to my comments, feel free to chime in.
I don't, City Manager. Thank you very much for your presentation, Mayor, members of the council. I'm very glad to be here. As Fernando had mentioned, I think that this is also a great opportunity to be very effective with the resources that the city has. This is something that had been talked about before, and deliverables, I think, that are not only extremely important, but that will provide very, very economically friendly and very efficient plans for members of the community. And as the city manager had stated, there will be multiple floor plans that will be available, ranging everywhere from single bedroom unit to multiple bedrooms. So it should be a great thing for the community. The CEQA exemptions that come along with it, all very strong things for the community, and can all be delivered within the exact time that the grant deliverables need to be completed and just done, I think, in a very efficient manner. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that the council may have, and thank you again to the city manager Santillan for presenting this.
I would have a question, Consultant Terry, and welcome back as well. It looks like the Regional Early Action Planning Grant has been around a while, but it was not able to be implemented due to staffing limitations. What has changed with the city staffing to allow this to occur?
I can answer that. Nothing in particular has changed. It's really just the fact that we have had other priority projects that we were focusing on with tighter timelines. And so now we've had the opportunity to really focus on this. And so we actually, with Mr. Terry's transition over to the consulting side, it was just the perfect timing to be able to hand this off to him to get this done within the required timeline.
Right. Anybody else have any comments?
I just have a quick question. Will this help? Did you have something?
Go ahead. Okay.
Did you, with this, and I don't know if this is what people would use, but if they have houses that have burnt down, is that something that they can specifically come in and ask for this? Because I see a lot of houses that are burnt down.
That's a great question. And I think that we would probably market this pretty heavily to folks who have had their structures burnt on infill lots, because this is the perfect application for that.
So my question was to piggyback on some of the homes that are in really, really bad condition that, again, possibly could be that people don't have the means or the funds to upgrade or put a new roof or put new exterior, because these homes are pretty much like they're going to fall down. I mean, we have them all over the city. Is that something that they would qualify for possibly, or?
Yeah, so that's a good question. You know, the city does have a revolving fund to assist community members with the demolition of substandard homes or structures that are unsafe for habitation. What would have to happen is that they would, if they don't have the funds, they would have to access that revolving fund to demolish the structure that's currently on the lot and then they can use these plans to build a brand new home. Unfortunately, for existing homes that are not demolished, these plans wouldn't fit just because each structure is different. But if somebody were to demolish a home, then this would be a perfect application for that.
One more question to piggyback off of what Councilmember Guerra asked is Golden State, all those houses there. Are these funds that could potentially be used for those to contact those owners? Because that, they're revitalizing Golden State. So that would be a perfect opportunity for us to contact those owners because I think these funds would be very helpful.
Absolutely. Actually, about a year and a half ago, maybe we did have one home demolished that was substandard on Golden State on Whitson. What we would like to follow up with down the line is housing construction funds to actually build the homes, because what we're doing here is engineering and architecture, but there's still that missing piece of actually funding the construction, right? So I think once we're able to secure that side of things, that process would go a lot easier. Thank you.
Anybody else? Any questions? Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Call roll, please.
Councilmember Mendoza Navarro,
Yes.
Councilmember Guerra,
Yes.
Councilmember Trujillo,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cho,
Yes.
Mayor Robertson.
Yes. Item 6, consideration of a resolution approving a building permit and plan check fee waiver for Fresno County Rural Transit Agency Maintenance Facility.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, members of the council. As you know, FCRTA has been a longtime partner of the City of Selma. The FCRTA transit employees are actually employees of the city under an agreement that a longstanding agreement that the city has with FCRTA. They have been working on a project to build a brand new maintenance facility at the Selma Industrial Park near the Selma Pallet Company. And they're just about at the point where they can start construction. They came in to pull permits, but one of the things that was requested was for us to consider waiving the building fees for this building that's going to be valued at over $10 million. The staff believes that this a waiver or reimbursement of the building fees would be appropriate simply because it's a government agency. It's a JPA, so FCRTA is a JPA that the city participates in. That employees that would be housed within that facility are actually employees of the city. And they provide a great service to the public with rural transit. So it's not something that typically we would do for private developments, but this is a little bit of a different case because of the public benefit involved. And it's not a private agency, it's a public agency. And so staff's recommendation is to reimburse the $102,933.75 that FCRTA has already paid, and continue to support FCRTA with the construction of the facility.
Council have any comments on this?
Yeah, this is actually good. I mean, I'm in support of this, and simply because it actually clarifies some information that was coming across here that we had lost this or something like that. I don't know what it was, but it's good to know that the facts are that they are still building and they're still here, in partnership with us.
Yeah, I'd just like to comment that, you know what, in the Rama games, they're investing in our community, but in reality, there are employees, and any joint powers agreement we have with anyone that's going to bring service to our community is a plus. However way we look at things and what's out in public and what people say, we have to actually go back and see what the benefits are for our community. And we will get ahead more by working with people and working with agencies than going away from agencies. So I'm all 100% for this project, and many more if they bring many more and more showing good efforts of our city to show that we want to work with different agencies is number one.
Yeah, I've been involved working with the director of the Fresno County Rural Transit Agency for many years, and I remember lobbying very hard for Selma when the maintenance facility was up for bid between Kingsburg, the cities of Kingsburg, Fowler, and Selma. And we were fortunate enough to get it because we had the land at the industrial park. That means they had to buy this land, which put money into the economy here in Selma. They had to rent. They're renting buildings in the meantime till they get their facilities built. So that's putting money into the circulation and into building owners' revenue stream in the city of Selma. And as the city manager indicated, they are running their employees through the city payroll at a very high burden rate, which has accrued to Selma's benefit. I didn't hear it mentioned tonight, but they're putting well over 100,000 a year into the Selma City General Fund. Just to give you an idea that is not an inconsequential amount. Ross, when they came in, was projected to put in 25 to 50,000 a year in the city's general fund, and they do a lot of business, a lot of sales tax. So that's very important that we have the FCRTA contributing to the general fund of Selma. And I applaud the city for reversing itself and sending this money back, because again, it's just one public pocket to another. They're a transit authority. The city is a city and it's a municipality, but I think it's really important, and the city was jeopardizing that relationship with FCRTA by charging for this permit. And I think it was the right thing to do to enhance that relationship, because I remember talking with Director Stites about that 2-acre piece of land out there, part of a larger land that they're going to be building on, and saying, what are you going to be doing with that? And, after they were charged for this permit, he said he's going to be selling that land. And now I think that has changed. And I think that FCRTA is full steam ahead and going to be building this maintenance facility. And I think it's going to enhance the relationship. And I think it's a really, this is a good plan of action.
And I'd like to just echo that. I'm glad to see that businesses like this is important. And I'm glad that we are all working together to make this happen. And again, this is going to bring more jobs, more revenue to our city, which we need. And this is how we get things done, is moving this city forward. So I want to, thank staff and Moses Stites for really bringing his business here, and let's keep moving. Let's keep growing. So thank you.
Do we have any comments from the public on this matter?
Jim Abel, 1701 Dinuba. Guys, we're in the right direction tonight. Hey, I applaud you guys. Because, ROTC, we need that good relationships, the transportation, they're the future. And if we don't create good relationships with our counterparts, outside agencies, that's where we get a lot of our monies for the cities, not just the city of Selma, but other cities around us. So the idea is to create that relationship very good, not chase them away. And this is the first step. Transportation is, when they first came to Selma, they did a lot of good things. Give the electric cars, and then also our maintenance stations here. Like Scott says, they had 3 places to go to, but they chose Selma because it's the relationships we had with these certain people in government. And I know Moses, and I know him for a long time with when he worked with Caltrans. I always tease him about Floral. He was part of Floral's exit. But in life, those relationships and partnerships we create in government and agencies, they come back and help the cities. And that's where it's at, guys. You got to create those avenues. I don't care who. When you guys are up there, create those avenues for the people. Everybody's a part of the team. everybody. I don't care, chief of police, whatever. He might know somebody or know somebody, that knows somebody. It's those avenues that you create to help City of Selma, guys. Remember that. We're working together for the same cause, okay? Thank you.
Ten 57 Mill Street. I'd like to say, Rose Robertson, I'd like to say, Director Moses Stites, very well known, the whole Central Valley, always helping all the cities. Every time he attends function or is somewhere at another city, they throw out the red carpet for him. He just truly helps with bringing in revenue for all the cities. He's outstanding through the whole Central Valley. Great guy to get along with, knows his stuff. When they appointed me to this Selma Cemetery District Board, from what I understand, they had some writers there for a very long time and didn't know what to do with them. And I just happened to mention, why don't you call Moses Stites? He knows about transportation, he knows about vehicles, he knows where these things can go. Possibly, just give it a shot. And sure enough, they contacted him and he took care of them. Amazing guy. This is great news for our city. We need this revenue to continue to come in and these jobs that'll continue to give these employees a good job. Thank you.
Anybody else who'd like to say anything about this important topic? We have anybody online or on the phone? Like to say anything?
As a reminder to those on Zoom, please use your raise your hand feature and we will add you to the meeting queue. Mayor Robertson, at this time, I see no hands raised.
That will bring the matter back to the council. Is there a motion on this item? I will actually make the motion to approve this.
I'll second it.
Call the roll, please.
Mayor Robertson,
Yes.
Councilmember Guerra,
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza Navarro,
Yes.
Councilmember Trujillo,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cho.
Yes.
That will move on to departmental reports. City manager.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. A few things to report tonight. First of all, we did receive notification from PG&E that the customer service office that was located on Second Street, just off of the Highway 99, Freeway 99, excuse me, is permanently closed as of December 15th. They will not be reopening that office. And so payments left there will not be processed. And so we were working on getting that information out to the public. Once we have further information from PG&E about what the best way to continue to make payments, we'll communicate that as well. Secondly, we have we received a draft for staff review of the State Route 99 Floral Avenue interchange feasibility study or operational analysis. So staff is reviewing that. We'll send that back to Caltrans for comments. And then what we plan to do is have a workshop with regard to just general circulation issues on the west side of 99 at Floral. But I did want to let council know that that was received late last week from Caltrans. And lastly, with regard to development, I'm happy to announce that we have appointed a new deputy city manager over development services who will begin his post tomorrow. His name is Jerome Keene and comes with a lot of experience as a former contract community development director, planner who's worked very closely with some of our QK planners. So we're very excited to have him on board, and at the next council meeting, we'll be introducing him formally to the council. And lastly, Public Works Director Diaz will be talking about the planned closures for 99 and Floral, but We did want to let the public know that all that information has been posted to the city website and pushed out their social media channels as soon as we receive those, but I'll let our Public Works Director speak more on that topic. And that's all I have. Thank you.
City Attorney?
The only thing I have is I just wanted to let you guys know I am working on the handbook and the code of conduct policy as directed by you guys at the last meeting. I hope to have it to you guys for the next meeting, but if not, it'll be the first meeting in April.
Okay. Thank you. Deputy City Manager, Administrative Services,
Nothing to report.
Fire Chief Peterson,
Nothing to report.
Police Chief Alcaraz.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. I just wanted to talk briefly, since it's been mentioned, about our parlor dispatch for law enforcement services. That started on Wednesday, March 1st, I believe. When's March 1st? I apologize, the days are a blur. I just want to thank the community for their patience and our personnel as well. They've been phenomenal in trying to adapt to this new program within the organization. But I'm extremely excited. We've gotten some great feedback from everybody. And it's exciting to see this program kick off after it's been talked about for decades. So for it to come to fruition and try to enhance what we do it's challenging, but it's extremely rewarding. And I just want to thank all of our personnel for kicking that off, especially our dispatch supervisor, Cynthia Gomez. Beyond that, I can't thank our community enough for their outreaches about regarding Officer Gonzalo Carrasco. And again, the emails and we still have mail coming in that we're trying to get to, and we'll respond to each and every one of those letters as best we can. And we still continue to continue our communications with the family. And as a bright note, a bright spot, Gonzalo had his child on Monday, which is a healthy little boy. I won't say little, he looked pretty big. I think he's bigger than me. But we're extremely excited for the family to give them that they have a little bright spot to look forward to.
That's awesome.
And that is all I have. Thank you.
Praise the Lord. Great. I'm sure you're giving the best wishes from our city to the little one. Community Services Director.
Mayor and council, how are you doing today? I just, as I get really loud, I just wanted to let you guys know of a few things that we have going on. All right, so we have, as we're adding new staff. All right, is that better? There we go. All right. So we actually, as we are adding new staff, as you guys are aware, we're currently reviewing our current procedures and processes and everything that we do internally. We wanted to make sure that as we bring on these new staff, we are making the most efficient use of their time, but we're also recognizing that we can't do that without the input of the community. So you guys are going to start to see some additional polls and things going out to the community as to what our community would like to see as far as recreation and community service events go. So we just wanted to let you guys know when we do share those on social media or via any of our channels, if we could just have the community's help to help spread that and share that so that we can build the programs that our community really wants here locally. In addition to that, we've also focused on how can our events partner with our local businesses and our local community as added benefits to the things that we are doing. So I'm excited. The Easter Bunny is coming to the Selma Arts Center on April 8th for some free photos. That was a lot of fun planning that. In addition to that, what we are doing is we've been talking to local downtown business owners yesterday or today, and we'll get out there the rest of this week. And what we're doing is we want to really hype up some of the things that are going on here locally in Selma. And because we know he's going to be at the Selma Arts Center, what a great opportunity to partner with the local businesses and give them some free advertising on our social media challenges. So, or on our channels. So we're handing out this letter, and I will provide you guys with a copy. And it's just an opportunity to have the Easter Bunny visit you guys or downtown businesses. And then we will feature those the weeks leading up to his arrival. And again, as we're building these programs, it's really about how are we creating these community partnerships and how are we working together. to really kind of make Selma even better with our recreation and community service program. So if you guys want more information, I have the copies of the letter here that will be going out to the downtown business owners. We just wrapped up T-ball registrations. We have more registrations than we've ever had before. So our programs are definitely growing and we're excited to see that coming on board. And then we have Cinderella coming up. So if you guys are interested in seeing a show, that is the next show and you can get tickets online or at the box office. Thank you.
Thank you. Public Works Director Diaz.
Good evening, Mayor, fellow council. I just wanted to give another update on the State Route 99 closure. The city received the information from them late on February 17th. We posted that out on Monday, the 21st. But we did reach out to Caltrans to discuss the closure and the proposed detours. Engineering and Public Works both have some concerns with the detours that they're proposing. They're wanting to use 2nd Street and then push them up the Golden State Boulevard, but with the project that's going on Golden State, we're worried about some issues. They also did not provide any time frame, just a start date. So we want to get that information from them so we can notify residents and business owners. One of the things that we're going to be proposing is alternative detours and then asking for an extension before they start the project and anticipated end date to that project so we can get that information out to residents and businesses. We also asked them about any public outreach that they would be doing or public meetings. They're looking into that internally to get back to us and set something up like that. We have talked to some businesses, but again, we don't have a lot of information. We are meeting with them tomorrow, so hopefully we can get a lot of that information out and get an extension so we can provide that information out to the community. A little update on our crosswalk conversations that we've had at council. Staff's been looking at all of the crosswalks throughout the city, parks, schools. We've met internally. We also went through some of the documentation that we have, and the city adopted a local road and safety plan earlier last year. With that plan, the city is able to get some HSIP grant funds with that. So we're looking at that to make sure that all of our areas are included in there. You may see that coming back to council in the next few weeks or months to get the plan amended to add those areas in there so we can use that plan to go after grant funding to help with the project in some of those areas. And we're also looking at doing things in different stages where, you know, lower funding requirements or the bigger projects, and bring all that back to council so council can review that and help us make a decision on how you want to approach the local safety of our residents. And then Schaefer Park flooring, that project is moving forward. We had a small window in between rain events. So they're out there this week trying to get that done. They should be done by Wednesday. We do have rain coming Thursday, and then we'll start the partitions the following week, but we needed just some dry time so that way it doesn't bubble up that epoxy flooring. So it pushed us back a little bit, but we should be able to get that project completed. That's all I have. Thank you.
Just one more. Did you want to talk about the anticipated rain events and flooding at Schaefer Park potentially?
I can. Yes, sorry about that. We do have an anticipated rain event for the end of this week. A pretty large one where we're anticipating about 2 inches of rain fall from Thursday to Friday. So we're expecting flooding at Schaefer Park. We'll be closing that park down Thursday afternoon, closing the gates, putting barricades out. PD will be also assisting us with that, and we'll be preparing sandbags for residents to pick up out of the courtyard. We'll have all our storm pumps ready to go. So hopefully we can curb any flooding and stay ahead of it.
Are you, is the department canceling any games, any league games for the weekend? Okay.
We will be also closing the dog park because that is a ponding basin also.
Thank you. Council reports. Councilmember Navarro.
It's Mendoza Navarro, thank you.
Sorry, you introduced yourself at church yesterday as Councilmember Navarro. I apologize, or as Blanca Navarro. I apologize if you want to continue with Mendoza Navarro. I meant no disrespect. It's just how you introduced yourself yesterday at church. Thank you.
I wanted to separate the two, so thank you very much. I don't really have a lot, just wanted to thank Public Works for the lights over on Dinuba and Thompson. I've had, a few calls and emails and text messages, saying thank you so much for that. And there's arrows now, and so there's, great traffic there. It took a little bit, but you guys did an awesome job. By a little bit, I meant like, I've only been on council for 2 years, so you guys did an amazing job. On a personal note, my baby is turning 21 tomorrow. It's hard to believe that that child is 21. Also, speaking of church, thank you, Mayor. I am actually I partnered up with the Selma Catholic Women's Club to host a spiritual retreat, and I really invite the community and also council here to attend. It's on April 1st. It's an all-day spiritual retreat, and it's the title of the retreat is I think it's Accompanying Jesus in his Gethsemane. So basically it's preparing for Holy Week. And, I know a lot of members of the community talked about, we're needing Jesus, and I absolutely agree 100%, especially since we are in the Lenten season, whether you're Protestant Christian, Catholic Christian, whatever denomination you are, this is the time for a spiritual retreat and renewal. And so there's, like I said, on Saturday, April 1st, it'll be at 9 o'clock at St. Joseph's at the Monsignor Daniel Lopez Hall. And it will conclude with 5:30 Mass. And the priest is, Father Abel is actually going to have a Lenten retreat starting on March 28th. And like I said, leading up to April 1st. I also wanted to thank Commander Garza. I had a conversation with the superintendent or Dr. Shepherd, and, we talked about the incident over, at Eric White School where we lost Officer Carrasco Jr. And she said that, the teachers, we're never prepared for what we don't know. We're only prepared for what we think. But a lot of the teachers were actually remembering what they learned and at least got, were able to do what they needed to do. There are some, obviously some things that they need to improve on, and hopefully we don't have to go through that again, but at least her staff remembered what to do. So that was great. And that's actually all I have.
Councilmember Trujillo.
Yeah, just first of all, thank all our staff for all the hard work you guys have been doing these last months. And I just want you to know that I support you guys 100%. And, we here in council, we just go back and forth. But at the end of the day, we as council members, I want to make sure I express that I support you guys 100%. The other one is what a great job the chamber did on the crab feed. I've seen a lot of you guys out there, and, we as a community, business owners, get together and joke around and laugh and talk, and we get to, break bread and talk about, past experiences. And, I keep on saying, the chamber keeps on putting out the crab feed. They do these things where everybody's able to participate and talk to each other and just, talk amongst business owners, and restaurants talk to restaurants, and different businesses talk to businesses. And it's really good to have these organizations out there to be able to get unite people and talk. So for that, I congratulate the chamber. One reason why it's really important to support them. The other one is all in all, businesses right now are being affected by just, there's been a lot of analysis. There's the ERC right now, Employee Retention Credit, that's out there for businesses. And there's so many businesses. I spoke to a agency in the federal government, and they were telling me that, you may think that COVID was bad, but right now a lot of businesses are struggling because there's things out there that just don't employment. People don't want to work. So a lot of businesses in this town, in our town, are really affected. So whatever the community can do to rally around businesses, it's really important. So I commend you for having these outreaches where you can bring the theater and bring people like, different items, because we need that. We need outreach. As a small business owners, they need that. So I applaud you for that. And that's all. That's all I have.
Member Guerra?
Okay, I just have a few items. I want to revert back to Public Works, Director Diaz and City Manager. I know you mentioned about meeting with Caltrans in regards to setting up a plan in how they're going to, the closures of the streets and what I'd like to do is hearing today Dwight Nelson, which is, he's been around 50 years. The Farneys, I mean, a lot of these business owners are going to be affected by it. And we just heard today that he wasn't informed, well, maybe because he doesn't do social media. A lot of business owners don't, unfortunately, that's kind of the way of the future, but I can see, people like him that probably don't. Maybe we can do a letter once we find out the resolution or how they want to close and open, and, giving him a time frame, giving him a letter, maybe get these business owners involved and said, hey, we might have failed 3 years ago. At that time, we probably had Tracy that was out there going to businesses and asking them, because she did do that. She did do that type of job. She was always out there walking, talking to all business owners, and we don't have that right now, of course. So maybe if we can find a way to get them together, make them feel that, yes, we value them, we value these business owners, and this is going to be the outcome. Just giving them that kind of information, maybe it'll set the tone, that we want to work with them. I think that's important. So if we could do something like that, as soon as you get that information, we can share it with them. Maybe just put a letter, small letter, doesn't have to be that, detailed, but hey, this is what they came up with. This is the time frame. We'll be back in, open. Hopefully it won't take so long, but we've seen the projects in the past. So, but let's just kind of hope that we could work together on something like that. So the other thing is the projects. I know we're now first quarter. Can we get on our next agenda the spreadsheet of all our projects that we're working on, just an update as to all the businesses, hopefully development, so forth. Let's revisit back on the housing development, because again, I keep getting these calls, people complaining. What happened to Lennar? You guys kept saying every quarter that we were going to, we're breaking ground in 3 months. Well, 2 years go by and we still never broke ground. So can we get something updated in regards to where we can give a little more clarity to these people? Because let's face it, we've lost a few people over to Kingsburg. They built homes there, and we don't want to keep having that happen. We got good people here. We want people want to stay here. We got to kind of start moving on that. So if we could have that, I'd really appreciate it. The other complaint that I did receive was the sandbags. Citizens were saying that they were told that they needed to call Sanger, which I don't know why we would be calling that. Selma ran out, that they didn't have any more sandbags, and they were told to call Sanger. I know this was a unique time or unique year. We never had this much rain, but we know some rain's coming. Is there any way we can make sure that we have enough sandbags in case, so these people can come and get them?
We can address that, and we're planning on having plenty for this next
Okay.
event.
Let me see. Other than that, you addressed Schaefer Park. That was the other issue. So more likely about a couple of weeks, I would say we should be, that project should be done.
That project should be done in a couple weeks.
Okay. Okay. I think that's pretty much it for me. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Cho.
Yes, I'd like to thank the staff so for all your hard work, always. I did attend the crab feed also. This lady got a TV for $400, 65-inch. I can't guarantee you're gonna do it again next year, but you should come and see. I also attended a Chinese Consolidated Benefit Association banquet, a brand new year banquet, and that it was basically showcased 10 honor students from Central Valley area that will be receiving a $500 scholarship from the Chinese Association. And we had 9 courses on that dinner, so it was pretty grand. Selma Business Alliance is having a fundraiser on Thursday. It's $10 for a Mexican dinner. Pickup will be at Max's 5 to 7. And the mixer coming up will be on the 15th. It'll be at SKF. So hope to see you guys there. Thank you.
Thank you. I find it interesting that Council Member Trujillo is talking about supporting businesses, and yet my business has been the repeated target of him saying it's not a sales tax generator. It's not much of a business. It shouldn't be downtown. So just wanted to note that hope there's some more consistency applied to Councilmember Trujillo's supported businesses. I wanted to also say I have an upcoming meeting at SKF this Thursday. If anyone has any issues they would like me to raise as the director, one of the directors, I can certainly raise those issues. Or if you'd like me to ask for something to be put on the agenda, I can certainly do that, not for this meeting, but for the next meeting. I proudly voted at Council of Governments meeting, which I attended last Thursday evening, to award an active transportation plan grant of $3,098,000 to the city for the Branch Canal Parkway project. So I'm really happy that the city is getting that, and it's going to be great for walking routes and bike routes that the city needs. We're also told at the Fresno Council of Governments that due to the $27 billion projected state deficit, these funds are going to be hard to come by in the future. So this is a really good thing. And I wanted to let the people know that I'm working on a Safe Routes to School grant as well with COG. And that's the COG, the members, the various mayors and COG members have made that a priority for Fresno Council of Governments. And so that could dovetail nicely with the work that our Public Works Department is doing on routes to school and on crosswalks. Hopefully that could be used to augment any kind of efforts that the city pursues on that. In terms of Caltrans, just to again augment that, I haven't been contacted by our city in any way, but I've contacted Caltrans because I sit on the Council of Governments board, the FCRTA board, and I'm a resource and I want to help our city. I was told by the information officer of Caltrans that there will be 2 phases of closures, and each closure will have a specific on and off ramps closed for 6 weeks at a time. So I specifically asked, and I've had business owners contact me and say, what's going on with these 99 and Floral closures? And is it going to go to 2nd Street? And the answer is yes. It's going to be like Fowler, and hopefully it's not going to be as long as the Fowler exit closures have been. But you have my commitment that I will stay on top of this and I will keep asking questions. And I hope our city will do the same thing and stay on top of this with Caltrans. They were supposed to be closed. The Floral and 99 on-ramp was supposed to be closed on the 13th, but it was delayed because of weather. So who knows when that's going to actually happen. But I'll continue to look into that and to be a resource for our city. I had a business owner call and ask, what's the status of the timeline of the Clarkson lift station upgrade? City manager, do we have a timeline on that?
Yes, absolutely. And actually, the next meeting, we're planning on bringing in an item. The last thing that was missing was the acquisition of additional right-of-way from Harris Ranch because we needed a little bit more space to build a bigger pump station. And so they were gracious, so gracious to work with us and grant that to us at no cost to the city. And so the city council needs to approve that, accept that grant deed, and then we'll move forward. I think the timing of the bidding for the construction is probably going to be within the next 30 to 60 days max. And I think our city engineer was on the line. And if you'd like to add to that, David, feel free. Go ahead, Dave. Oh, anyway, yeah, that's coming up pretty soon.
Thank you very much for that information. Also back to Caltrans quickly before I conclude. We talked about the floral and the Caltrans representative reiterated what the city manager said, which is the feasibility study that has been sent over. That's going to be by the city, I believe, feasibility study. That's going to be very important to move forward with Caltrans. And it just seems like Stillman and Caltrans's recommendations on the lights there at 99 and Floral, they really lead towards roundabouts. And I don't know if there's any HSIP money for that, but hopefully there is some funding that that the city can work with Caltrans on. And again, as a resource for our city, I will do my very best to help with Caltrans and get that funding to alleviate the Floral and 99 traffic situation, because we definitely need that. And I want to say thank you to the people who reached out to me. I appreciate it. I really do. And you're why I'm here. I'm representing the citizens, the people who aren't political, the people who just want to live here and have a good, decent place to live and have their business in. I appreciate that. And I appreciate your support, and I will continue to fight for you. And with that, we will move on to our oral communications, our final one for the evening. Anyone have any comments they'd like to make at this time?
Jim, below 1701 Dinuba. Wow. Change mics on me, girl. I'd like to say on the issue on Mr. Nelson, when he came in and asked for planning permits for the city and there's no one available, can we facilitate some of those issues when these people come in and these contractors, developers? We should have someone in there assisting them, because that's money for the city of Selma, guys. And that's where we develop these good partnerships with the contractors and developers that are going to invest our money. Like Mr. Nelson, he's been here for a long time, and not just him, but other people in general. We should conduct business on a regular basis and with a speedy process, and try to facilitate some of these issues on the table, because to them, it's time is money, and we need that money. Bottom line, guys. But think about those issues, guys. But thank you, everybody. Tonight, it was a good start in life. Good. Continue.
Any other comments? Do we have anybody? Oh, we have another comment.
1057 Mill Street, Rose Robertson. So it was mentioned at the last council meeting that the body cams are in the budget, and dash cams also. That's very exciting. I know the citizens of Selma have been really for that, and really are looking forward to that coming, to our city for our officers to have something on for some more transparency for them. Do we know about when we'll be getting them? Do we have any idea about when we will be getting them for our officer safety and for the public safety to have our body cams available for our officers?
Yes, with regard to the body cams, we're just waiting for our purchasing policy to kick into place. And I think that is as of tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. So we should be able to move forward with that purchasing process. You mentioned the dash cams. Those have not been included in the budget, but we've been discussing with police chief, the police department, with regard to whether that's something that the PD could utilize, or if that money could be better spent in other enforcement equipment that would better assist the PD in providing safety to our residents. And we'll come back to council with further information on that.
Can I just get real quick clarification? That purchasing or that policy, the purchasing policy, that was actually approved on February 6th. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you.
That is very good news. Hopefully we could reach out to Jim Costa to get help us with those dash cams. He's willing to help us to continue to have safety for our officers. That'd be great news. Thank you.
Anybody else with any comments? Anybody online? Anybody on Zoom? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Adjourn.
We're adjourned.
I think he's gonna sign off.